Welcome back, SMITE fans. Happy to have you here with us. My name is Finch, and as you just got through seeing, Yamoj is currently on the battleground of the gods. So make sure your SMITE's updated, get out there and play on that new update, and enjoy not just Yamoj, but all the other cool stuff that's out there for you right now. So as I said, my name is Finch, but I'm joined by Ryan Aggro Bailey here on the desk, because we still got some console to take care of as we move into Xbox North America, specifically Blanche Fan Club up against Fatal Ambition.
And look, BFC has been the second best team in this region all year long.
Yep.
By my estimation, they're the second best console team across all regions and all platforms, but unfortunately for them, they've got Hype Unit in their region and platform, so they will not be coming to LAN, but we get to see them today to finish off the season.
It's kind of like, despite how good the Miami Dolphins are, we're in the same division as the Patriots, so we never get to make it
Actually, hold on. Yeah, it's nothing like that, because the Miami Dolphins are bad.
Well, don't say that.
Well, they are, objectively. And whereas Blanche Fan Club is not, I think you were doing them a disservice with this analogy.
You're right. I was trying to bring the Dolphins up to the Blanche Fan Club level, not drag Blanche Fan Club down, but I see that I got crossing the wires. That's fine.
No, the Miami Dolphins are at no level besides the absolute basement.
The bottom, yes. Slightly below the Bengals, though. All right, so let's talk a little bit about what we can expect here from this set. We've seen that so far. It has done a good bit of mirroring what we would expect from the SPL, I think, in our earlier sets.
Sure.
Maybe a little bit less Horus and some of those gods getting value, but for the most part, they're pretty locked in. Do you think we'll see a battle over Tier? Is he the new god that you're fighting to first pick?
Yeah, I think so. I think that Tier is a premier god right now with these changes, just until at least everyone kind of gets used to him again. He's got a unique play style. He still has the same problems, but 2 knockups is good.
Yeah, turns out that that's not bad at all. Well, I wonder if we'll start to see even more RDO as Tier becomes more popular to see if she can become a bit of a counterpick to him, though she can be a bit slow in lane. And hey, surprise, surprise, Blanche Fan Club, a pretty darn good team, pick up the Tier right out of the gate. That is scary if you're Fatal Ambition. Should they go to a Geb? It's a bit early for this Geb pick here, but we'll see if that can be the response.
Yeah, I mean, Clean's still good against Fearless Chain, so it's not a bad idea. I mean, Cripples is where I'd be looking for sure if I'm Fatal Ambition. I'm looking at gods like RDO, like Poseidon, Ares Jungle, things like that I'd probably be looking at this point.
Has Khepri just fallen off? I don't know. I thought he was the premier support for a while.
He is. Pick him. That god is insane. And we don't see that much Blink Khepri, which makes no sense to me.
Yeah, Blink Abduct, and you're like, oh, I guess
broken.
I'm done.
Yeah, it's broken, man. I mean, so many mid laners, like let's say you're playing Poseidon, right? I Blink Abduct you. You have to beats, because otherwise you're dead to my mid laner. And then you beads, and then I go, okay, wait out the beads, and root you. And then you get on her ulted, or whatever ulted, Hera ulted. What does it matter? You're dead to the root. It's insane. The CC is insane. Pick Khepri, he's busted.
Well, Jormungandr and Achilles being picked up here, which makes me think that they just drafted a bunch of solo laners, so I don't know where all this stuff's going to go. We could certainly be seeing Jormungandr support Achilles jungle and then Tier over in the solo lane, but these are all gods that do a lot of their best work if they're able to play from the short lane.
Yeah, I'm thinking Tier jungle, Yorm solo, Achilles support.
Okay,
That's where I'm going.
I would rather an Achilles support than a Yorm support. I don't like Yorm support that much.
No,
in particular, so
not a whole lot of the stuff you want your support to do, which is like peel, initiate. Doesn't really do either of those.
He can do those things, but you need it to be quick and reactive.
Yes.
And Yorm cannot quickly, reactively do much of anything. No.
He's gigantic. Can you blame him? It takes some movement. You got to get some momentum going. You're the world serpent, man. I mean, what's he supposed to do?
Well, it's going to be Chernobog, Wukong, and Chronos locking it in over there for Fatal Ambition. And one last pick of the Unbots they add in for a good bit of control. They actually were a bit control light, I'd say.
Sure.
So adding this Unbots in was a pretty big deal for them. That should help a lot.
And it's a classic pick against Tier because that passive that Tier has that reduces all CC to 1 second doesn't matter for Fear No Evil because it's constant little ticks of fear. So I like it. Hunbats can certainly be there to help lock down this Tier. And not really a whole lot of magical damage here for BFC. They've got a pretty unique composition, I'd say.
I mean, they locked in an Athena as well. We were already talking about how they had a bunch of solo laners, so where's all this going? You're mid, and that's on me for not recognizing that one. Hamster support, it is the Achilles jungle, and then they'll take the Tier over to the solo lane, and the Yorm is starting with a Warrior's Blessing first item. I know the school of thought right now is that Warrior's Blessing is just the best blessing, so is that what this is?
I mean, yeah, I guess so. I don't know. I mean, we've seen Zeros be the only guy who really pulls out the Yorm mid, and I believe he would always start with Mage's Blessing and Magic Focus 1, which is Pen 1, so you could rush his Divine Ruin as early as possible. I wonder, I mean, the Doomorb start that's so popular for mages right now, boots 2 Lost Artifact, I wonder if Keegs could have just gone for that in order to try and get some early lane pressure, but this is still completely fine in my mind. I mean, it's not ideal, but Warrior's Blessing isn't bad.
He has teleport?
Now that is bad.
Yeah. What's going on here?
All right, Finch. Look, man, this is a minute into game 1. I didn't want to have to.
I gotta save you.
No. Here we go. This game doesn't matter a whole lot.
No.
And here's what matters: having fun with your friends.
Yes.
You know, having a good time, and sometimes you need teleport to do that. Yeah. That's what I suspect is happening here.
Well, we'll see if Keegan can put this teleport to good use. I imagine, especially up against something like an Batz or Geb, he'd really like to put some beads to good use, but we'll get a chance to see. You know, there was a small time period where they looked too similar, the beads and teleport.
That is true.
And you were accidentally getting teleport when you wanted beads.
That is true.
But we've moved beyond that time now. That should
so.
not be what's happening here. It certainly should not be at this point. So we'll give Keegan a chance to show us what he's looking for there. Meanwhile, Jangaru has the BLNCH to start things off, so he'll be looking to be aggressive on this Achilles. That should surprise all of nobody, but I'd be on the lookout if I was Fatal Ambition.
Okay, so I've got an idea. All right. We get teleport here.
Okay.
And it's because the enemy team has a Chernobog. We never leave our tower line, so that all the Chernobog ults would have to come to the tower, and then I can match the rotation with a teleport.
If it's to a tower line, gotcha.
Only to a tower line, that's right.
And then in the early game, that's just free quick backs, right?
Exactly,
So
exactly.
you're caking in the early game.
Right.
And then late, you know, then you're making those sick
And then I
rotations.
upgrade it, and I require everyone to leave and hold a ward during until a team fight breaks out, and as soon as you get Chernobog ulted, you drop the ward, and I teleport to it.
That's actually pretty nuts. He'll be able to keep those rotations easy as a dash in from Hamster for the taunt. Doesn't get beads out from Soul Reaper. He correctly identifies he's not under that much duress and makes it out.
Keegs looks like he's going to be going for a Book of Thoth with the book starts, which we do not see a whole lot of these days. Yeah, Jorm, not great scaling, so stacking power usually not what you want to do. You want to stack item procs because your scaling doesn't matter when that's the case. So that's why we see things like Ethereal Staff and Soul Reaver and Gem of Isolation and items like that being the offensive options for Jorm when he is played in the damage role. Stacking a whole lot of power doesn't usually do that much for you.
I'll come back to defend this red buff and should be just fine in that regard. Fatal Ambition haven't really tried to apply any pressure here. I mean, Batz is not the greatest early game god, neither is Geb, so it totally makes sense, but I don't know. I also don't know that you want to give this Jormungandr a free pass throughout this early game, because once he has damaged Jormungandr later, it is going to be hard to stop him. I mean, when he's in the ultimate, you truly can't.
Right. I mean, Jorm early game really is pretty good in the mid lane. It's kind of hard to kill him, and it's pretty easy for him to outpush you because of his auto attacks. It's really once JPrro hits 5, which is literally right now, that I'd expect him to come in and find an easy Fear No Evil kill.
Fallen taunted in half HP, but here's Fear No Evil not going to be onto Keegan, though. Instead, they want Hamster. Hamster gets the dash. The leap there, though, from JPrro, and say hello to First Blood. Fatal Ambition on the board.
And that's not the ideal target, I'd say, but it's still an ideal target, I should say. It's Hamster without Purification Beads. You want to set the Jorm mid a little bit further behind than you would the Athena, ideally, but with Hamster so close to the enemy team, it was a much easier follow-up situation in order to kill that player. So that makes sense to me.
And a direct result of JPrro just hitting 5 ahead of Jangaru. I mean, I'm not so sure that Fatal Strike would have stopped that in any way, but it's just a difference of they were the ones who could sort of got the ball first, right? And they could start the fight on their own terms. They're able to do so successfully. Blanche Fan Club now on the back foot here early in this game, down a little bit more than just that First Blood bonus as well. So Fatal Ambition just having a nice start here so far.
It's really centered around the jungle because Jangaru is a little bit behind. Now, because he's able to transfer that into mid, that XP differential in the mid 3v3 becomes very relevant. That Hamster is a little bit behind Fallen in hitting level 5 as Jangaru still potentially looking for Pitbull here. She needs a bit more damage.
This is a great call because execute thresholds there. Pitbull falls for the first kill for Blanche Fan Club. Surprised they didn't aggress there towards JPrro. Perhaps worried about a Fear No Evil if they got closer to the tower or something like that. But either way, they come back having gotten what they came for, which is a nice pick.
Oh, sick. Keegs already right back in lane because that teleport. That's huge right there.
And they got him back fast. Tell me how quick beads would have gotten him back to the tower,
It wouldn't have helped at all.
Exactly. Keegan getting maximum value so far from this teleport, and I expect we'll see more as this game continues.
You know what's something that we don't see enough of that I thought Hamster was doing, and then I realized it was just his dash being charged. But if you're like Athena in lane, and you're kind of doing this 2v2 stare off while your mid laner is clearing, I feel like just channeling your ult, just like going into your ult and looking right. Because that
kind of like Neath World Weaver.
Right, it clutters comms so much, and it makes you have to worry about a lot.
Wow, Keegan's going to have to clutter the death column as well. He takes a spill in mid. Certainly was vulnerable and couldn't get the ultimate off in time. Looks like he's waiting on this book, as you kind of alluded to earlier. Instead, has the pen boots finished. Still no Warrior's Blessing stacked either. So he was a bit of a sitting duck.
Keegs could also just wait on that book and turn that into a Soul Reaver a little bit later. He could get started on pen right now. He could do something else that I don't know what else he would do. He could rush the Soul Reaver, though that doesn't seem super great. But you could not build Book of Thoth. It's just that usually when we see book in that first slot, that's what that indicates, because these are all late game options outside of Book of Thoth.
Right, is that you want to try and get stacking right away. It's the only reason you'd start to rush in there, as opposed to that lost artifact starting to do more. That's become popular. I think you were saying earlier you wouldn't have minded seeing that here on this Jormungandr as well.
Yeah,
that
starts really good, man. I mean, it kind of has single-handedly put mages back in the meta, it felt like, in the mid lane at least. I mean, it is that your power spike is that strong. As soon as you get Cursed Orb, which is Doom Orb 2, you get to finish boots faster than the hunters in the mid lane. You get a lot.
Delnyy active here against JPrro around the blue buff. They're looking for yet another invade. Even Keegan's rotated over. And now look for the knockups on the Fallen. Time to move into the ultimate. Taunt brings the Geb back, but the rest of Fatal Ambition not just going to lose their support for free. And so they trade some blows, but not a whole lot of damage being done. There's the roof, but Pitbull stunned, so we can't find any damage. And it's Keegan who's the one who's being brought low. Pitbull takes to the sky, execute Threshold, but that's for the decoy. And Keegan trying to worm his way out, but caught by the Cataclysm, and it's Pitbull who punishes.
Nicely done. He's a worm, can't worm his way out. Delnyy with the up-down, as solo laners need to do legally. And Fallen's gonna go down.
And that means the Fatal Strike can't find itself a target. Hamster gets Fallen anyway, but Pitbull finds 2 in this engagement, his first 2 of the game, to turn that one around. And I don't know, Blanche fan club were around for a while and didn't find much, but this is a huge answer back, but I forgot that he can't lock down a Sun Wukong.
Never, ever.
What was I even thinking?
That's not possible in these parts. And Delnyy with that Glad Shield rush was huge there, because he was awfully low in that blue buff pit. But with that huge heal from the Glad Shield, was able to hit 3 targets, it looked like, with that Lawbringer. That puts him back up to a healthy enough life total that he was able to keep on brawling.
Man, but I mean, it was a long, drawn-out fight, and it looked like the time to kill was too high on just about everybody, even Keegan. On this Jormungandr that, isn't particularly tanky aside from his Warrior's Blessing, does end up dropping, and he's the first one. So clearly these teams don't quite have all their damage there yet.
Not quite yet. Soul Reaper still working on his Transcendence. Now JPrro has finished off that Jotun's Wrath, which is great because you want as many Fear No Evils as you can, especially before Keegan hits level 12, because that is a free kill every single time as long as Keegs does an ult in response to your blink.
Fallen was one of the ones who fell in that last fight.
Nice, man.
Thanks,
That was really good.
As you could tell, I felt really good about it.
Yeah.
This Geb is going to continue to struggle with the early game, but once you get late, having this Geb is going to change so much here for the squad to get shielded from this damage, to cleanse them out of all these taunts later on as well, too. That's why you pick this Geb. You're not trying to pop off here early. You're okay with taking some losses for that late game.
And in the early game, I mean, he's still not terrible. It's that he needs a little bit of help in order to get rolling.
Oh, this kind of
right
help?
now.
Like being caught in an alleyway
No,
and suddenly there's 4 people that you don't like? He does hit a sick Cataclysm to give himself some time, turns around for the Shockwave, and the Fatal Strike off the mark, but in comes Fatal Ghost over the wall, and he blinks before he gets hit! Fallen is doing all kinds of work to buy time, but unfortunately, buy time for what? There's no one coming in to back him up. They finally get him back out, and Fallen lives through all that, and now it's Keegan who dies.
Yo, that's kind of easy for the kid right there. I mean, that's some smooth moves with a fatty Cataclysm in the middle. Right, followed up perfectly by JPro's ultimate. 4 people on Cataclysm and Fear No Evil. That's a pretty good way to win a team fight.
Not a bad Synchroned Monkey bounce there as JPrro avoids getting hit there by Jangaru. But yeah, that Geb's got to die there. I mean, I don't know. I think that is 60% a pretty nice Cataclysm, but mostly that they've got to be able to get that kill a little bit sooner. Grouping up on the Geb, never the play, is now not a pin has been grabbed by the taunt. He retreats. This is the Chronos who walked in here just to get given the hands.
And didn't even get hit by the Power Stance Fearless. So it's Blue Stance knockup pretty good, I would say. That's what I want to see from today, by the way.
Is more blue stance knockups?
Well, no. Well, yes. I want to see all the changes that were made in the last update. I want to see some more Kukulkan play. I want to see how he looks. I want to see some tier game play. That's the kind of stuff that I want to see actually making an impact. I want to see these invades and how well they work against the extra HP that you get on Assassin's Blessing now. That's what days like today are for, you know, learning about what we might see in the Worlds patch.
Right, and unfortunately, for these two teams, this is about as far into that patch as they're going to go.
Yep.
But everyone else will be coming towards Placement Week, and then obviously into High-Res Expo. It's going to be happening towards the end of November. They will be sending here as their representative from Xbox in a hype unit, and I think that's the console team best poised to make some noise against the minor league teams. They play each other first, the console teams, and then they'll send 2 representatives up against the 2 bottom SML teams from each region, and then from there, they'll move on into the rest of the bracket. So I do think Hype has a chance to make some noise.
Me too, man. I'm excited. I'm excited to see how well they can do, and they made some good waves at the midseason invitational.
Yeah.
So we'll see if they can improve upon that. I don't think that just matching it is what they're looking for. That's a confident group.
It's a hungry team, man.
Yep.
You're absolutely right, and we still see that Guan Yu that Layers kind of popularized in the jungle still being played out there occasionally. So certainly that legacy already there. They'd love, though, to cement it further as an actual contender against some of these teams. Blink Cataclysm from Fallen into the Fear No Evil, and Keegan couldn't teleport his way out of that one. Instead, Soul Reaper finds a critical kill, and Fatal Ambition gonna head right back towards Gold Fury.
And his teleport is down too, so it's not like he's getting back quickly to this engagement. Jangaru's here and has Blink, but Delny's not here, doesn't have teleport himself.
And the Gold Fury's already too low. Fatal Ambition steal that one away. Blanche fan club never really had a chance to defend, and suddenly this is turning to an actual lead for Fatal Ambition up against what had been one of the top dogs in this region here so far. BFC need to regroup.
And I wonder if we see Keegs go with that teleport, because Delnyy does not. He started off with the Blink in his lane, so felt like they needed something to defend against a split push potentially. I'm not a subscriber to that necessarily, but maybe that was the thought process. Delnyy gets
like
to go pretty aggressive.
Like a YouTube subscribe where it costs you nothing, or are you talking about like a subscription? Oh,
No,
so you
I'm
wouldn't
saying-
even do the free.
No.
I see what you're saying. Wow, that's
No.
brutal.
And by the way, if you guys haven't listened to the Green Room podcast, you should. It's a podcast that all of us do and talk about random stuff. You brought up how much would it take for me to, I'm walking out of a store and a guy goes, yo, I've got $2 here for you. Come over and listen to what I have to say.
Right.
I'm so confident that I'm in the right to not go over there for less than $5.
I think that you are right, And I know there's some other people who, who like to talk about, their dire straits. I don't know if they would go over there for $1 human. I don't think so.
Why would anyone?
Yeah, it's not worth it.
The risk reward is so poor in that instance, man. I think I'm being too cheap for $5. And then if it's more than $5, I'm like, what are you possibly doing that would be worth you giving up $20 to me? I'm not going over there. There's no.
It really shot up to 20, didn't it?
Right. There's no win for that person. Don't solicit me with money at a store. That's what I'm saying.
If you want some more context for us, then Agro's certainly right. All of us casters are on that Green Room podcast. We like to talk about fun stuff. As JPrro doesn't like this fun stuff that's happening in the jungle. That Fear No Evil, he'd love to get that one back, I'm sure. Not quite what he was looking for there. As in comes the Defender of Olympus, so Keegan going to keep right on moving. Channels that World Serpent Ultim, but everyone can take to the sky in this match.
And no one's next to a tower, Finch. This is worst case scenario. The teleport doesn't even work.
Yeah, normally it would be getting sick value here, but just a rare situation where instead Soul Reaper's catching the hands by himself on the right side. Delnyy is the one that does that, so luckily they didn't quite need it for this right side kill.
Blink's up for Jangaru, and Delnyy has his as well. Pitbull is trying to keep him in combat. As instead we target switch to the 80% Geb.
Cataclysm finds 2 as well, and this is all happening underneath the Tier 1 tower. A really ambitious call there on the Fatal Ambition, and they don't find much, but JPrro elsewhere gets a kill in right. But this time, wait, no, he won't even have the teleport.
He just used it. He just TP'd right.
0-5, by the way.
Yeah, that's just unlucky. I mean, that does not feel great.
JPrro in even more trouble as Jangaru blinks on him, trying to get some backup from Pitbull.
Nice stun.
That's a great Tiger stun, but the Fatal Strike can't quite land. Doesn't even need it, though. He gets it with the basic, and JPrro falls yet again. Oh, no, that's his first time.
He's out of there, man. Good job by Jangaru. That extra range on the Achilles basics back in the meta right away. I will say that it looks much better this time around. I play a little bit of Achilles now, and it's much clearer that my auto attacks are actually going where they say they're going. I like it.
And that nice feel, perhaps helping Jangaru a bit towards this 2-1-2 slash line, level 14 already. He's going to need to pick up some more slack, though, because Keegan so far hasn't quite found whatever it is. It looks like the Book of Thoth was indeed the call, and that's now been finished, and he'll be working on stacking it. But that just seems so slow for how active he's been, right?
I agree. Yeah, I think that the Divine Rush that Zero's loved so much would have been totally fine here, especially against that the Bancroft's Talon that Not-A-Pen has picked up. I think I would have liked that a whole lot more.
Certainly would have found some value there. But instead, he'll have a chance to make this teleport work. Now we're at a point, though, once he crosses the level 12 threshold, where it can be considered, I would say, an abject failure. Because if there are any good teleports from here, he could just got that at 12, right?
Yes.
So now at this point, we saw literally no value out of the early teleport.
I would concur with that assessment, as Pitbull's got to use Somersault Cloud, ult for ult on the right side of the map. Both have some CER, but Delnyy slightly more with that Blackthorn Hammer, so suppose that favors Delnyy just a bit.
Goodness, the heal's certainly beefy, though, isn't it, from Tier at this point? I mean, we're going to be seeing a lot more of them. I'm getting ready for it now.
I'll tell you what, man. I mean, the fact that blue Power Cleave in general, 8-second cooldown, and that is a fatty heal.
It is.
It is insane that you get that every 8 seconds pre-CDR. That's pretty good. I will say that.
Part of what makes him so hard to kill, and as you said, it's already hard to lock him down. Fear No Evil chases Fatal Ghost all the way back to the house, man. That was like the kid that started something on the bus, and then they're trying to run back home before you can get your revenge. But JPrro catches him on the front lawn and gives him the business.
That's taking the other bus that you know drops you close enough to that neighborhood, but it's earlier in the route. That is good research done by JPrro. By the way, that didn't happen. I can empathize with that situation. That doesn't sound great.
Delnyy on his way, the only one that could possibly stop this from happening. Misses the Fearless. Defender Olympus channeled, but instead he's using it to try and find the kill in the back. Fatal Ambition, secure the objective. Fatal Strike, mostly just to reposition at this point, as Fatal Ambition can not only get the Fury, but they could look for a fight on the back end of this.
Keegs, the big beads, and got off a lot of damage, and then straight into a Lawbringer from Delnyy. This isn't too bad.
Keegs is certainly dead here already. They're going to need to pick up the pieces on the back end, but Delny's been rooted. He's forced into beads as well. As Pitbull jumps forward, JPrro rather is the one that actually jumps forward and thinks better of continuing that aggression.
Smart call.
You know, if we're talking about scary things when getting off the bus, I've told the story on the podcast yet again, but for those that don't listen, here's what you're missing out on. I one time I was bad at school, I'll be honest.
Okay.
And they called my dad. I knew I was in trouble. He was going to be home waiting for me. He was at the screen door of my house when I got off the bus.
Oh, no.
As in, getting off the bus, I turned and I could see him waiting through it.
Oh, no.
There was no safety for me.
Did they let you back on the bus?
Oh, for sure not. They closed the door the old-fashioned way and laughed at me as I walked to my miserable fate.
That is, that's rough, man. I feel for you. That is tough. My house is kind of like around the corner, so I at least would have had some time to trudge
some
my
ignorance,
way.
yeah.
Exactly. That's a bad hand you got, Del.
Yeah, I could see it really from the bus window, if I'm being honest. I didn't even have to fully get off, as Delnyy tries desperately to keep this tower alive. A little bit better than desperate as he makes his all the way to Soul Reaper. Big Cataclysm from Fallen as well. Into the Fear No Evil. Not a bad combo at all. Delnyy and Jangaru realize that it's already a bad situation. The Hamster trying to keep this fight going, but the rest of Fatal Ambition want a bit more.
Pitbull's got to try and get out of here, though.
What about
They've
Keegan?
got Keegs locked up, and Pitbull still on the run. That damage from Fatal Ghost
Nice!
is enough. Hamster gets at least one.
And Hamster now in trouble as well, trying to get the dash charged up. Nice from JPrro as well. Hamster knocked up. Let's get this spread, fellas. Deicide! And they take down JPrro.
Wow, man. I did not think week 13, set number 3, was going to be the best call of John Finch's career, but here we are. This is going to be a Phoenix easily here for Fatal Ambition. They've got so much tower damage between a Chernobog and a level 19 Chronos. This is going to be gone in a flash.
Is this the Chronos Diamond skin?
It is.
You know, I have been a staunch defender of the old Diamond skins where their skin becomes diamond instead of wearing the diamond clothes, but I think this skin's a great argument for the new wave we're doing, where it's like they're regular people wearing diamond stuff.
Yeah.
This is alarming to me a bit.
Yeah, it's a bit
unsettling.
I think you're realizing that was not so normal at the beginning, you know, that just being a solid brick of diamonds is probably not exactly what the game plan should have been.
Yeah.
And now you're just, this might have been your first time seeing one after a while. There aren't that many gods left with the classics.
I agree. Yeah, they've gone through and mostly given a lot of those that touch up, and I think it's largely for the better for all those diamond ones that are out there. But you know, I don't like to put on the diamond skins anyway. It feels like it's like calling your shot. You know, like
a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know. I like to just do well on it.
I like the legendary skins.
Yeah,
I'm a big fan of those.
They're good. There's some good ones out there. This Fire Giant, though, gonna be a legendary defense if Delnyy can make his way in there. Fire Giant low already at Fatal Ambition. Secured yet again. Jangaru forced to retreat. Delnyy not even gonna get off the ground. No, sir. He falls back down. Not a pin gets the credit. Taking to the sky, or trying to, his hamster, and does get it channeled in time, but the rest of Ambition are on their way.
Keegs can't teleport out this time around, but can use that World Serpent ultimate. Decides to go back in just to peel just in case. Right there for his same level support. We're getting close to full stacks on that Book of Thoth, so watch out.
Gem of Isolation finished as well, and that actually is a pretty big power spike item from Jormungandr's usually. It's just that usually they're not 3 levels down on everybody else. Mid-Phoenix now being sieged the hard way. Everyone here to play defense. Hamster starting to melt. Has to reposition quickly, but in comes Pitbull on the Sun Wukong. Mid-Phoenix goes up in flames, and Blanche fan club can't keep it standing.
Now, no minions here on this left-hand side, and Delny's respawning right now. This is a little bit risky, but they're doing a lot of tower damage.
If they get not a pen and Soul Reaper into range, they're fine. Jangaru pops. No real problems there. They do catch Pitbull for the first time, but Fear No Evil yet again gets it done, as now Hamster has to watch the game through black and white. Fatal Ghost in some trouble. Gets the airstrike off, but they've already claimed the left Phoenix. They don't even have to keep fighting. This is what they came here for, but they'll take an 8th kill onto Keegan.
And a huge wave coming in for the right-hand side. Fatal Ambition clean this one up early.
22 minutes, 42 seconds, and Fatal Ambition. You know, Blanche fan club might have thought they were going to come in and find an easy game, and not the case here.
No, that was well done by Fatal Ambition.
Yeah.
The draft, clearly not optimal there, I'd say, from Blanche fan club. Tier not so broken that you can pick anything and win. That's kind of the moral of that story, but ultimately I think a lot of that credit goes to Fatal Ambition. They played a lot of those team fights very well.
They certainly did. I wrote a lot of notes down here on the desk here in front of me. You guys saw them a minute ago when we had that shot. And somewhere on them I wrote down that this Jormungandr mid with the Warrior's Blessing Book of Thoth start wasn't the play.
I don't see it. I do see a whole novel that you've written.
Yeah, it's a lot of stuff, dude.
A little bit of poetry on there. That's beautiful, actually. You should
thanks,
publish
man.
some of that.
I'm a great writer, and I certainly will be planning on publishing this stuff later on. As well as we can publish, there's a victory for Fatal Ambition, at least in Game 1, but the set not done just yet. Blanche fan club will have a chance to turn things around in Game number 2. That'll be coming at you in just a few minutes. IAM, powering the control room for the SMITE Console League. And welcome back to the SMITE Console League. Finch here, and we are going to be moving into game number 2 between Blanche Fan Club as well as Fatal Ambition. And as always, I am joined by Ryan Aggro Bailey. I promise I did everything I possibly could to get someone else, but this is just who it's going to be.
I actually hot glued myself to this chair so they couldn't take me off the air.
Quick glimpse behind the scenes. I was supposed to have Anatoly here today, but it just wasn't meant to be. I'm stuck with Ryan Aggro Bailey.
Unlucky for you.
Dude, really, I low-rolled, truly and honestly. And you know who also low-rolled? The other 4 members who had to play with the Jormungandr mid there in that last game. I mean, it just did not get off the ground there for them in that game. But we all know Keegan, much stronger player than that performance. So if anyone is a bounce-back candidate, it's very likely him. I imagine we'll see a very different BLNCH fan club here in this game after kind of catching one in game 1.
Yeah, I agree. Keeg's probably going to pick something like Uller or Hou-Yi, or he's going to troll again, but pop off this time.
Right. And then he'll insist it's good, and we'll have to accept it, and there won't be anything we can do.
Right.
I hope that's the darkest timeline. I hope that does not happen.
Yeah, I imagine that Finch, we should play some games, and I'm going to pick terrible things in terrible places.
Okay.
Like, I don't know. Man, I can't even make fun of Poseidon Jungle anymore because it has been working. Oh, Chalk Mid. I'm going to pick Chalk Mid.
Okay.
And I'm going to do well in spite of the pick. Not because of it.
Yes.
But then I'm going to insist that the pick is good. And you won't have that many arguments to go against it, and that'll be fun for me.
Yeah, it'll be fun for you. I'm glad you said it the correct way at the end, because no one else will be enjoying what's going on. BLNCH Fan Club pick up the Achilles. They're going to get that back at the hands of Jangaru. Makes sense to me. Give someone who can make plays a playmaking god. That's certainly what they've done. And then Fatal Ambition going to take Morrigan and the Odin here early. So a lot of the top picks actually being passed on, which means BLNCH can take tier.
Yeah, no tier in those top 2, which is surprising to me. No Ama. That's craziness in my mind. I mean, these are good picks here for BLNCH Fan Club. I like it. These are picks that do get really destroyed by Cripple, so that's a little bit of a concern. Fatal Ambition didn't really prioritize it last time around. They could have gone with things like RDO or Poseidon. Poseidon got banned in that second ban phase, and I imagine BLNCH Fan Club is going to ban it again here.
Right back to the Chronos, though, for not a pen, and I think that's a big part of why Fatal Ambition were able to end that game so quickly. The Chernobog and the Chronos went unchecked that game, and they were shredding through towers and objectives, so go right back to that Fatal Ambition. I think that's going to be a good look.
And Khepri banned, I like that one because it can get people out of that Odin cage by way of just letting them die in there and pull them out. I like that idea, but still a lot of gods on the table here for BLNCH Fan Club that I think can make an impact.
I think the Unbots ban, though, is huge. JPrro played that so well last game. That was the real backbreaker, I think. We'll have to see if they can supplement that same thing because, I mean, Whirlwind of Rage and Steel, some nice control, but aside from that, they're really relying on that cage.
Hercules is an ambitious pick against an Odin. I like the Chernobog, though. Chernobog, a god that you would think struggles against Odin, but can hide in the Odin cage wall. So he's actually okay in that area. The Hercules, though, I think could really struggle mightily.
Najah certainly does provide control, but much higher execution, I would say, than the Unbots from last game. So that means that JPrro is just going to have to be able to mechanically make up for some of that ease that he was enjoying last game if he wants Fatal Ambition to have as strong of a start as they did last time. But you mentioned this Hercules. Hamster into a god that says no healing and you're stuck inside this cage, picks a god that would love to heal and cannot get out of the cage.
That is concerning, but it's on support, so it's going to be around the map a whole lot, whereas the Odin is going to be in solo lane for the majority of the game, so it's not a huge deal, I don't think. I mean, there certainly were setups that you could go for, I think, that Hamster could just get big enough early that it doesn't matter.
He's been horrific now at this point as well as they continue to whittle away at him. But this is all fine with Hamster as long as no one really is doing this speed. He's doing his job. That's why you start with all these extra chalices and health potions as well. He'll be able to keep sustained up and keep members busy. Speed buff left undone. Meanwhile, Jangaru has already grabbed his.
And this does hurt Keegs, because even though he got the first wave solo, whereas no one else did, at least in the mid lane, the Soul Reaper did not, because JPrro was there, means that his red buff gets invaded. Fatal Ghost just walks into the entirety of the enemy team, which is an odd decision, considering he should have known they were there. They were getting pinged the entire time.
Instead, not only does he use the beads, but he'll have to take a quick seat. That is first blood for Fatal Ambition in a situation where you really can't afford to give one of those away. Not a bad start for FA here so far. I mean, don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but they're looking pretty good up against the big dogs, and now they've got Hamster locked down for 2.
That is 2 early first bloods, and that is tough because those are the 2 characters that I think you really need to be able to stay safe in this game, and that's the Hercules that hit for Hamster that shouldn't be able to fall behind, and that Chernobog that you're hoping Fatal Ghost can have a good enough laning phase to when this Odin rotates, you can just kill him every single time. That is not the ideal start for either of those two members.
And then Not a Pen is on this Morrigan, the direct opposition from this Chernobog. What is his ideal transformation target here? Is it the Odin? Do they want to punish Phantoms with multiple cages? Or is he returning into the Najah himself, another playmaker? What's he looking for?
Chernobog to match Chernobog rotations is my first guess, because there aren't a whole lot of good options.
Fatal Ghost in trouble here yet again, the left-hand side, though. Running out of ways to get away from this Najah. A little bit more damage comes from Not a Pen, and JPrro gets yet another kill. 3-0 to start for Fatal Ambition.
And JPrro doesn't go Assassin's Blessing, so he has boots too, so he can get this kind of ball rolling, and boy, has that worked out for him so far.
Not bad. That's good Merlin damage, though, in this arcane stance, and Keegan finally gets the ball rolling for Blanche Fan Club, and boy, did they need that from him. He's gone that Choose a Focus rush, and lets him get the first kill for the Order team.
Boots is the name of the game so far. JPro's been able to make him work, and now Keeg is in that mid lane, just a poor use or lack thereof of relics from Soul Reaper, because he had beads when he got picked up by that Hercules Earthbreaker, decided he could take that driving strike. You can never take the driving strike. That is the bait.
And it was the arcane stance behind it that kind of pulled him back in as well, but it's all because of the driving strike. That opportunity's even there. Delnyy considering a blue buff invade. He's getting some backup from Jangaru, and he's actually going to need it, but it doesn't get there in time. In fact, it just guarantees the ring bounce from JPrro.
JPrro sitting there, oh man, if only there was one other thing that I could bounce my ring off of so that we can insta-kill Delnyy right here. And Jangaru trudging along, all happy to be there.
You rang. He gets in there perfectly.
You needed something? Yeah, we did. Thank you.
Jangaru is able to get that dash off just in time to retreat and get away from the damage from Fatal Ambition. It's now 4-1 in their favor, and this is a great start to the game, particularly for this Najah. We were saying he does have control, but it's so much execution heavy. Well, it's a lot easier to execute when you're playing with Elite.
Feels like that's something that could have been in the Lego movie. Like, you know, oh, I'm really glad that this one thing that could make this go poorly for me isn't happening. And then Elliot just bursts in like, hey guys, happy to be here. Here to help you get out of this blue buff invade. Oh, that is unlucky.
Unfortunate, really.
Yeah, that is, I didn't see the Lego movie too, but I really should. I enjoyed the first Lego movie.
Here's what I'm going to say, and sorry, I haven't seen it.
You haven't seen Lego movie?
It's Chris Pratt, right? He's like the guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
It's very funny.
I like
And I would tell
Chris
you
Pratt.
that I would tell you that I own it because I do, and that you're welcome to borrow it and watch it because you are. But I know that because you're a bad human being, you won't.
That's true. I will not. I don't know if the first part's super true, but I won't watch it because I don't necessarily like to watch movies.
That is an ice cold take by you.
It's not
like,
good, huh?
That is a beautiful lemonade on a summer day. It's refreshingly cold, you know.
It's 90 minutes.
Maybe even too cold.
I very rarely know what I want to be doing 90 minutes from now, and I gotta sign up for this movie. That's wild to me. I can't. No way.
Imagine defending this take. That makes no sense.
I don't have a choice now. It's my take, and you've called me out for it on the air.
You're able to stop the movie if you don't like it 20 minutes in. That's an option to you.
Yeah, but then you have that dangling thread, and you want to know what's going to happen, and you know.
It sounds like you like watching movies, that you like seeing what happens.
I like have seen them, if that makes sense.
It does not. It truly doesn't.
Sure. All right.
The only way you get to that point is by watching the movie.
Yeah, that's probably don't want to do.
So you like the end result, but not the act of it.
I'm the person who said I wish I could be awake to have slept. You know what I meant? So I could have enjoyed the sleeping.
Right.
Yeah.
That's proving the point that you should like watching movies.
No, it's consistent.
No, Finch, how do you not understand that? you don't. Wait, I'm punching right now. I can't help it.
Yeah.
I don't get how that could be. Those two things can be how you feel. They aren't. They're opposite of one another.
I was like, yeah, I like having slept. Kind of wish I could have enjoyed some of that.
Right. I liked having watched the movie. I wish I could have liked. I wish I could have watched the movie.
I wouldn't want to be awake for the whole 8 hours.
Okay.
Just some of it, though, would have been fine. Fatal Ghost is in trouble. We're way off the rails here.
I wish Anatoly was here, man. My goodness.
Dude, there's some trouble for Keegan in the middle lane, able to flicker back out of there. But he's going to continue to be under duress this game. You know how in Donkey Kong you can literally jump off the rails with your minecart?
Yes.
That's where we are now. We're Donkey Kong levels of off the rails.
Yeah, I wish that I was out of extra lives.
Yeah?
In this analogy.
You can go.
I really can't.
If you don't want to stay, Horrific Emblem used onto Hamster. This should be death here from as he's being brought back down by the wind fire wheels. But he did get a nice heal, goes into the boulder, doesn't get him a whole lot. Whirlwind Rage and Steel, though, celebratory.
Yeah, I mean, having a good time. And look, all things considered, Hamster's fallen twice, but he's really not that far behind. I mean, he's pretty close in stacks as far as Guardian's Blessing.
And that's a much more valuable kill.
Yeah, Soul Reaper is now behind because he's fallen twice, and Keegs is 1-0-1. Even in net worth, Hamster's ahead, actually, of Fallen right now. So it looks bad for Hamster, but in reality, it's not. Unlike John Finch's take on watching movies.
Yeah, it's much more like Fatal Ghost and Jangaru. Those two are the ones who are a bit behind here so far, and that makes sense. I mean, JPro's had an excellent start to this early game so far. Looks like he is indeed working on that Blackthorn, as you mentioned. Once that finished, I wouldn't be surprised if we see more plays from him.
Really odd build path, though. I mean, he backed and got boots in Cudgel, so
yes,
Blackthorn won.
Yes.
And now has gone back and gotten Shillelagh upgrade and the Assassin's Blessing, which is odd because Cudgel's 650 gold. So maybe if he had exactly 661 or 651 gold, it was worth it for him to back right then and not wait and absorb a wave to get Assassin's Blessing when he finished his boots. But I find that a little bit hard to believe. So you say
it's that if he was backing and had been planning to get Assassin's Blessing all along, wait. And then if not, why do we suddenly now have it?
Exactly. Yeah. You're either going for the Blackthorn right away or you aren't. I don't understand this split up sort of setup that we have going on. And even if he backs with exactly 650 gold and you don't want to wait for the 50 gold in base, which is understandable, you just backed at the wrong time.
Right.
You know, you just made a mistake and maybe just going out, clearing your backs, and then coming back for Assassin's Blessing is better.
I don't know how often he starts 4-0-1 either. His timings might be a bit off, if I'm being honest, so maybe that's part of it here for him. As JPrro now has that Blackthorn's complete, the Assassin's Blessing still stacking at this point, but around that power spike, I wouldn't be surprised if they're looking for a play. In fact, here's the rotation from Not a Pen, especially with Jangaru here and right. This could easily be a Gold Fury, and it doesn't look like that's where Fatal Ambition are going, and Pitbull is still surviving over here and right.
Yeah, that's that cage does a lot of work for you in that instance. Jangaru and Delnyy needed to put him in execute range right away. That is absolutely a mistake that he just doesn't get punished for.
I'm very surprised that this wasn't a gold call for them, especially with some of the items that they just finished. But instead, Fatal Ambition don't feel confident in it, and they're just kind of grouping up here around mid. This red buff is about to spawn, so they can be there for that fight, and Jangaru should be a little late.
JPrro might be able to just find this ultimate right around the corner, and he's got him.
Up into the sky, Jangaru and Keegan, the only ones that can do anything about this. In comes Fatal Ghost, proving me wrong. Boulders bouncing around like a pinball as well, but Hamster and execute threshold, not gonna matter. Not a Pin is there to find the first one, but not the second. He's had to keep right on running as well.
Should be able to exit down towards the south. I don't think Jangaru is going to be able to find him here, but Fallen
no, he is.
Ends up trading out 1-for-1.
Gets not only does Fatal Ghost fall, but Jangaru did get the read on where Not a Pen was, so he will end up falling as well. Not a Pen could have potentially cheated around that corner for when he came out of stealth to not reveal, but Jangaru just kind of saw.
Yeah, that was a little bit awkward. Overall, what, a 2-for-2 at the end of the day? Not exactly the way you want your red buff invades going, but Fatal Ambition did get the buff, so could have been worse.
And I mean, we had the global view, so I can't be too hard on them, but it's like once Jangaru's there and right, now that you finish this Blackthorn for JPrro, and you have those 4 members over and left, I don't know, that just feels like a fight you want to take at gold, even if you're not trying to do the objective.
Yep.
You know, force Blanche to respond.
I agree. I think that you're right in that estimation, and Blanche Fan Club just missed an opportunity, but they don't have great objective damage at this point. I mean, Chronos didn't have his Pythags piece done.
Agreed.
I mean, that's not going to be a whole lot of objective damage. You got a Morrigan. That's really bad objective damage. But Not a Pen could have always transformed into Merlin to get you a whole bunch. So I think that it was on the table for Fatal Ambition. They just didn't do it.
And I do think that's part of it. You know, they might not feel like this is the sort of comp that can be making those early game objective plays. And the timing didn't favor them for red. They did check it, and it just was not up yet. So it could perhaps just be that in their estimation, they wouldn't have been able to have a good enough fight there. I think they could have had a great team fight and maybe sold Blanche on an objective, though.
Yeah, I'm there. You sold me.
Easy. Man, couldn't have given me a call back when I was at Geico?
No. Definitely not.
I needed some sales back then. I was on sales team.
But imagine this.
Go ahead.
If you had done enough sales, maybe you would have thought that, yeah, you don't need to do that whole caster thing.
That's true. It's kind of good that I wasn't great at it. It kind of backed. It had my back in that way. Yeah.
Yeah. That's just, it's all part of the plan.
Dude, I remember when I was there, I told them that I was like thinking about leaving, and they told me I wasn't going to find anything better. I remember that. My manager said it.
Wow.
That's crazy, huh?
That they were right.
Yeah, it's nuts. How'd they know? In comes Not a Pen to the land, finds Hamster, but Hamster gets the driving strike off and execute threshold, but no Achilles around. Means that he's A-OK. JPrro settles instead for the target. He takes to the sky, and that's Fatal Ghost. Nice kill. Hamster low as well, but is able to retreat just barely.
Delny's able to make a big rotation with a blink. Fearless Lawbringer up and over the top. That should be enough to kill Soul Reaper.
It should be enough, but still hasn't happened yet. JPrro finds Keegan. This makes it 2 for 1. Hamster not a part of this fight, but Not a Pen is very, very low, and Jangaru is able to keep a bead on where he's at. Not quite, but Delnyy still up top all the while, catches up. No stun either. Delnyy shuts him down.
Just poor pathing after the stealth from Not a Pen. Not exactly knowing where everyone is going, but he knows where his teammates are, and you got to be running to them.
No sash there from JPrro, no ultimate either, doesn't need it. They get the kill on the Jangaru, and now it's Delnyy up against 3, but Tiers love this kind of fight where you can get multiple beefy heals in a row. Not gonna let Fallen back there. Delnyy just kind of soloing a little bit.
Pitbull's okay. He's Odin. Oh, nice catch though on that bird bomb. Means that these minions will take a little bit longer. No real impact on it, but
yeah, the stakes have dropped considerably.
But it looks cool.
Yes, as opposed to going to some nice restaurant, you're now at a
Crystals.
Yeah, Crystals asking for steak. That would be much worse stakes. Yeah. I certainly would say, as Hamster's been caught near the Gold Fury, but the Gold Fury still leased all this time. Fatal Ambition are the ones that finally grab it, and they get the kill on a Hamster. Reaper gets the rewind off as well. This is a huge fight for the Chaos side team.
Everything's coming up Fatal Ambition right now. Delny's going to hit a big Lawbreaker, though. That hit onto 3.
Yeah, a little bit shallower perhaps than what he might have wanted, but Delnyy gets the kill on Pitbull either way. JPrro catches Delnyy. I don't know if that's the ideal target, and everyone else sticks around. Well, you were going to follow up on the tier there?
Yeah, that's not the plan. Fatal Ambition do everything right. They get the objective, everything's going real well, and then it doesn't go right.
That makes me think that JPrro told everyone that he had Fatal Ghost up there or something, and they were like, yeah, let's get him when he lands instead of Delnyy.
The full health tier, by the way, that's taking absolutely no damage because no pen at all for JPrro at this point. I mean, Delnyy, at this point, look at all the pen that's available for Fatal Ambition. You don't have to look very long because it is 10 flat pen for Not a Pen. That's all they've got. That's not enough.
Is that what he meant, maybe? Like,
yeah, he's not going to buy the pen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Am I the first one to make that joke?
No, I believe I did earlier on in this season.
Oh, well, now I hate it.
On it a lot. Oh.
That joke's, yeah, it's a trash joke now.
Well, joke's on you. I never made the joke.
Oh, I got outplayed. Dude, you kind of hate to see that, actually. That's fine. I'll hold the L.
Easy for aggro.
Yeah. You almost said easy for Finch. I know, I heard it.
Yeah, but that would have been, I mean, I could have been really toxic about it and just said your phrase, but in a sarcastic manner.
Oh, yeah, but you didn't do that.
Man, I should have done that.
No, but you did. So.
Man, I got outplayed.
You did. It's easy for Finch.
There it is.
That was an accident, by the way. That really is a bummer. Oh, no, I didn't even mean to say it. It just came out. JPrro now has found himself a target, but I don't know if he realized that he's all alone. Thursday night, no one's around. JPro's all alone. It's kind of sad.
You good?
Yeah, it's fine, dude. Yeah, it's fine, dude. I mean, sure, you reach out and no one answers, and, like, fine, but, like, yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Sorry, dude.
JPrro looking for Hamster now in the jungle. But maybe it's Hamster looking for JPrro. Cage now dropped by Pitbull, and that's going to keep Delnyy out of this, but still, even with the anti-heal, they can't quite lock down Hamster. They'll settle for Delnyy. But that didn't really look like a fight that started on Fatal Ambition's terms, despite the fact that it did.
Pitbull nearly was able to finish off Hamster, but that Hercules just a little bit too tanky. Plenty of CDR, though, for Pitbull, so he can bird bomb out of there right away.
Able to reposition. Delnyy just barely avoids the stun coming out from Soul Reaper. And I would ask Fatal Ambition to try and pull up a little bit. They were a good bit ahead earlier in the game. Can I see the charts real quick, Doug? Please and thank you. Yeah, and this has been brought back in Blanche fan club's favor here pretty substantially. Fatal Ambition have got to kind of regroup and realize they're in a regular heads-up game now.
I mean, that Gold Fury steal, that's a little bump that you see, but then afterwards the fight goes so poorly that they lose it all.
Not a Pen in some trouble, transforms into the tier of Delnyy, and that does allow him to reposition. But Hamster still waiting for the blink driving strike, basically perfect. Fatal strike, though,
sick.
Does not hit. The Aegis, I think, is just enough to keep Not a Pen standing.
Oh, Jangaru with the beads and is able to stand tall. Not a Pen. Would have been in his best interest to just try and hope that Jangaru lets him go, but ended up making him mad.
At a certain point, we gotta give Not a Pin credit, though. He was never gonna live that, I don't think.
No, he played that well.
Yeah, he bought as much time as possible, but yeah, not bad for 4 people coming over to kill you.
Yeah, that's the best that you can do in that situation. Finally, Soul Reaper and Fallen show up, but party's already over. Everyone's already gone home.
Thursday night.
Who's throwing a party on Thursday?
People with nothing to do on Friday, I guess. That's not a thing, Tyler. No one knows what Tyler said, but...
Thirsty Thursdays? That's definitely a
said.
thing.
In what regard?
Oh, no, Finch, this is bad for you, man.
Oh, no.
Now it sounds like you really didn't
who
go to the
who
parties.
needed to be told that I wasn't partying in high school? That's everyone knew that, right?
It was more of a college thing because you had so much more freedom. You know, high school was, you know, you're still
Oh,
kind
right.
of underneath.
Okay, I do know what this is now. But,
Yeah, Thirsty Thursday.
but
man.
I
You
didn't-
gotta,
no,
you
that
gotta
wasn't
get
me.
prepared for Friday's rigorous class schedule by drinking water and studying.
Ah,
That's what it
yes,
is.
that sounds really
Right,
true to me.
everybody?
That was not me. No.
No, that's a bit unfortunate. I will say that going back to the party thing, it did remind me of a memory where I told someone the wrong time for my high school graduation party, and they showed up as we were cleaning up, and I've never felt so guilty in my entire life.
That's pretty brutal, dude.
He was real excited to be there too.
He walks in, and he's like, whoa, you guys are just getting cleaned up for the party to start, right? And you're like, no.
Sorry, Carl, if you're out there, man, that's on me, dude.
And clearly, you all had plenty of fun without him. It sounds
Oh,
like,
yeah, it
too.
was a good time.
That's a real bummer. Not only was Carl not there, but he was
He
non-essential.
handed me a card too. He had a card, and there was like 20 bucks in it. I was like,
Oh,
Carl,
no.
man, I can't accept this now. I'm so bad. I accepted it, by the way. I took that money, 100%.
That's the aggro that I know.
That's easy for me.
You could at least give him the
What?
gas money to drive back home. You know what I mean? Let him have that 20.
It wasn't that far.
Good thing, I suppose. As JPrro being chased in a tower by Delnyy. Not a pin right there, though, to back him up. But Delnyy, at this point, truly does not care for the members of Fatal Ambition. This tier does whatever he likes.
I didn't open the card right in front of him, you know?
Okay, that's good news, then.
Yeah, I didn't do that.
All right. I thought that, like, still on the doorstep, you took his 20 bucks
I didn't
and
do-
sent him home.
That's
That's pretty brutal. Odin Cage from Pitbull to try and lock in Delnyy, but yet again, I mean, this is more defensive than anything else. I think if your strategy starts with we might be able to kill Delnyy here, at this point,
Yeah.
you need a new
Stop
one.
talking.
Yeah, just switch tactics. You're just,
Right.
it's not happening.
You've lost shot calling privileges for 5 minutes. You know, you don't get to talk anymore during that time.
On Delnyy? No.
Yeah,
No.
muted in the
Yeah.
party right away. You just insta-mute him for the whole squad. I mean, they've got a little bit of anti-heal and pen now. I mean, they finally have a Brawler's Beat Stick, a Divine Ruin
Yeah.
done for not a pen, but no Demonic Grip for Soul Reaper means it's pretty hard for you to get those kills. Just not enough. I mean, Delnyy is just huge. Level 17, tons of HP, protection of both physical and magical. It feels like it's an impossible task.
Delnyy putting that to work, but can't quite get the read on where Pen is.
Oh, he's got... Oh, no, he turned around a little bit too soon. Maybe with the extra movement speed from Doomworm, Not a Pen was going to be out of range. Had relics. But you want to force those if you can.
He'd have had a Lawbringer almost immediately to have done.
Yeah, as soon as he saw him, basically. I mean, that's the thing that's crazy about Morrigan is that stealth lasts for so long, and you get so much movement speed in the middle of it that you get out of a lot of situations that it feels like you shouldn't.
Yeah, it really is nice. I mean, personally, I don't like to give credit for any plays made in stealth. I don't think they're particularly impressive, but yes, you're right. You can make your way back out of there.
It's I've kind of adopted your feeling on that, by the way.
You agree?
convinced me. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they couldn't see.
There are good ones. Not, you know, it's not impossible to make a good play in stealth.
The bar's pretty high, though.
But the bar is high. I think that's a good way to put it.
Certainly how I would say it. Fatal Ambition near the FG, but I doubt that that's what's on the menu here right now. It's Blanche Fan Club, the ones with the lead at this point.
Keegs with the Polynomicon Merlin. And I don't think we've ever seen this at a pro level play.
I don't think so either.
But it is interesting to me. His passive is basically mini poly.
Yes.
Already.
And it's lightning, so it's very cool.
And it's very cool. But the biggest problem for me is that there aren't a whole lot of abilities that Merlin has that set up a poly proc really well. You think of the gods that utilize poly well, it's Kukulkan #1. It's because Zephyr is a 1,000,000% slow, give or take, so you're guaranteed to hit your auto afterwards. It's Scylla, because you're sick'eming them, and you end up, you sick them, drop your crush to get the pen, and then you poly them, and then you blow up the crush and you one-shot them. Merlin doesn't really have that, and that's the only thing that makes me not love it.
Maybe not the guaranteed setup for that poly every single time, but it could still be strong.
You're in Frost Dance, you get to Frostbolt, slows them, auto them. Could be okay.
Jangaru battling it out with JPrro in the jungle, not a pen, stealth, and waiting in the wings. And Delnyy continue to do what he's done now for the last 10 minutes, which is dare someone to fight him. Soul Reaper does get the rewind off as the tier 1 tower falls. Pitbull drops the cage, that's 3, but Phantom allows for the reposition. It seems like Fatal Ambition, though, are not deterred. They continue to move forward. Aegis immunes the dunk out from Pitbull, and now it's a chance for a turn.
Pitbull's actually kind of popping this game, man. I mean, he's looking like mini wolves right now, but Delnyy is doing a one better. Another sick Fearless straight into the combo from Hamster.
Keegan gets that first kill, but Not a Pen is not to be outdone. He finds Keegan, but Fatal Ghost comes right back into the fray, but he gets a bit lost. I don't know which fight he was trying to follow, but he's not really helping much at all. Instead, he's just kind of with the team. Surprised that he doesn't just dash in to go and get Pitbull there. Pitbull's so weak. I mean, Pitbull had Blink, but that seems like a lot to be ready for in that instance. Well, Soul Reaper suddenly gone. Delnyy showing just how much damage he's got with a little bit of help there from Fatal Ghost. Pitbull now underneath the tier 2. Cage comes out, but they're able to make it right on through, and now the tier 2 tower in some trouble.
That's a new interaction right there. Changes to made so that things like player deployable walls no longer stand in towers. So things like Thor wall will get broken, and that includes Odin cage under towers, and it makes the character, frankly, a whole lot worse, because it's very hard to find a cage underneath the tower without it overlapping into the tower at some point. So Phoenix defenses get a lot harder, Phoenix offenses get a lot harder, tower defense, same thing. It is not an easy task now to find a perfect cage underneath your structures.
Just saw it there for Pitbull, unfortunately for him at the very least. And BLNCH Fan Club has wrestled control of this game back, and I don't know if we're giving them enough credit, at least not me, because this really looked like it was going to be Fatal Ambitions. They had, what, a 3-0 start to this game?
Yep.
I want to say around JPrro on this Naja in particular. He was 4-0-1 at one point. Since then, he's been 3-3-4. BLNCH Fan Club are back in control.
And really, it's been Delnyy destroying people in these team fights. He's been unlockdownable so far, and Keegs as well has been putting in plenty of player damage to kind of layer that on and bring enough threat. Tier alone, we saw it in game 1. Delnyy was playing well in game 1, but it's not enough by itself. You need that extra little bit. The Merlin is performing better than the Jormungandr, and that is a true fact.
Yeah, well, I'm surprised, is what I was going to say. I can't believe it that this Merlin is doing that much better than the Jormungandr teleport Warrior's Blessing starting mid. Find that.
That's a bit concerning to me that that was a surprise to you.
It's not good. Worlds is coming up.
We're
right?
week 13.
Yeah, I gotta.
There's not a lot of time left.
Yeah.
For you to get caught up to speed here. You know, that's a bit of a. Grant Hindu, you listening to this? Because
no is the answer to that, by the way. A big old no.
That's fair.
Fatal,
he's a busy man.
Yes, a lot going on for him as Fatal Ambition have 5 members all grouped up. But they need to get over to where the party's happening, and that's Primal Fury. But this is where Delnyy shines, zoning out multiple members. But they're going to drop the objective and take the fight here instead. It's Soul Reaper caught in the middle. No rewind for him as Keegan's the one that catches him out. Pitbull drops a case to keep 3 members there and caught. But that was the ultimate from JPrro, and it doesn't find anything. Instead, now he's on the retreat as well.
No blink for him. No way he gets away from this. Fatal Ghost notches his 2nd kill of the contest. And now Primal Fury can be the secondary. BLNCH Fan Club have an easy tier 2 waiting for him.
Did Fatal Ghost immune it with the Living Nightmare? Is that it?
I think JPrro just missed. Now, if it would have landed, then Fatal Ghost, I think, would have immuned it. But I'm pretty sure JPrro went skating right by.
I mean, he did keep passing him, so he can't have hit him there. But either way, I like the idea coming out from Fatal Ghost. BLNCH Fan Club now pushing in on the left side. Phoenix, Not a Pen turns into the Odin. It doesn't quite get executed. In fact, Not a Pen is still running. They use the Phantom, and 2 members are chasing Not a Pen. What about the Phoenix lads?
Okay, they got him with that Shield of Achilles, but the Phoenix still able to stand tall. Not a Pen bought an awful lot of time.
Yeah.
And now not only does the Phoenix not go down, but with Keegan and Fatal Ghost so low and not a great situation relic-wise, I don't know how comfortably they can get this Primal Fury.
Jangaru waits around the corner, though, so he can come back out and try and catch Soul Reaper unaware. It's Fallen that gets pushing back to the team, and this Xing Chen not tanky enough at this point. Fallen has indeed fallen. Delnyy gets the credit.
Good use of the boulder to pop that Raven shield, but Now Keegs, because of no Phantom that was used because of Not a Pen's transformation, is able to get picked off by Pitbull.
And I do think Not a Pen has made the right call by transitioning into these Odin transformations. That's getting a lot of value for them just because there's really only the one Phantom. Pitbull is plenty beefy at this point. JPrro has to use the ultimate defensively this time, but for the same result as Pitbull gets Fatal Ghost.
Fatal Ghost had his Aegis right there. Got surprised, I think, by that blink. A little bit of a mistake by him as Jangaru has plenty of damage. That Hydra's enhanced auto attack. Pretty good in conjunction with Achilles 2, which is percent power that it adds on. Not very many abilities that'll do that for you.
Man, we're getting closer to being back towards this warrior meta, it feels like. Aggro, they're everywhere.
It is scary, isn't it?
Achilles, Hercules, Odin.
They're
the reason
everywhere.
I'm noticing is because no one's dying. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
that happens.
Like, everyone's alive all the time, it feels like, and no one does that much
I don't know if
damage.
we could say that. There's 23 kills, or
Yes.
33 kills, rather, in
math.
27 minutes. That's a lot. People are dying for sure.
Yes.
But maybe if
It's a
they
lot
were
of the same
playing
people.
it slightly more optimally, then there would be less dying.
Yes, and remember, not a lot changes based on how this game goes, and by not a lot, I mean nothing.
Yeah, the stakes have never been lower,
Yes, again, think Crystal Stake is what we established earlier.
which is truly not a stake.
No, that's bleak. Crystals doesn't advertise or sell a stake, I don't believe.
Yeah, that's
but
a
if
good
they
call, buddy.
did, imagine what that'd be like.
Have you ever gotten a steak at Waffle House? Because they have actual steak.
No.
How much would it cost for you to eat a Waffle House steak?
I'm thinking 100.
Really?
100
A
human
clean
dollars.
Ben?
Yeah, clean Ben.
No way.
I never. Stop it.
You're telling me.
I hate you for that.
You're telling me that if I was like, yo, Finch, let's go to Waffle House, I will buy your steak and give you a 20. You wouldn't eat it?
No.
Wow. I want to see it happen.
50 might slow me down. That might be enough. Fire Giant being looked at by Blanche now. And by looked at, I mean take it. Fatal Ambition not here for the defense on this one, which is odd. Fatal Ambition have said no to 0 fights so far. They've taken every single one at every point in the map. But here around the Fire Giant, they get caught off guard. 2 members down, JPrro and Soul Reaper. Blanche Fan Club find a window.
And in case you were listening to the audio-only version of this cast and you're unsure how Blanche Fan Club somehow decided to get a Fire Giant, it's because Delnyy found a 2-man Fearless and insta-killed off of it with help from the boys. That's how that went down.
Yeah. A little 2-man
And hey,
Fearless
it's
photo.
happening again?
Yep, Pitbull caught back in as well. Fallen does find a Whirlwind of Rage and Steel, but those are so much better when there's someone to throw that into. And Fallen, unfortunately, is all alone. Right side Phoenix starting to melt now underneath the damage from Fatal Ghost. A little bit
Much
of help
like
from Keegan.
butter on a Waffle House steak.
No, I don't want that either. No. Fatal Ambition. Gonna have to try and figure some kind of way to slow down this Blanche Fan Club train.
Much like your digestive tract after a Waffle House steak.
It certainly would slow down. That's a blockade you'd be putting into that system as Hamster gets the kill on the Soul Reaper. Surrender vote starting, not unlike you after a Waffle House steak. And so far, Blanche Fan Club have completely controlled
Wait, you don't think
this
this will hurt my chance of getting a Waffle House sponsorship, do you?
I think it would destroy them at this
What
point.
do you mean? I love Waffle House. I truly do.
That's not their wheelhouse, right?
That is not. Stay in your lane, Wahoo.
Exactly.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. We're all big fans of Waffle House for the thing that they do, and that's
Waffles.
3 a.m. waffles when
In a
nothing else is open.
Large hash brown covered in chunked. Yes,
Yep.
sir. That's the good stuff.
I rarely plan a Waffle House trip. Waffle House is like, man, the events of the night have led us here. Is really
That's
what
a good way to
Waffle
put
House
it.
is. Yes.
Yeah. Sometimes, I mean, that's just the way it's gonna be. You know. Sometimes you just decide you wake up from a nap at 11:30 at night, and you roll over and you go, it's time for some Waffle House. You
That's
know.
right.
That's just where I am mentally right now.
And you head over to Waffle House, and they know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They can tell what kind of trip this is, because it's the only kind they get.
That is true. But I will say that the average Waffle House employee is very happy and nice, at least in my experience. And I like that. I really appreciate it. That brings my mood up a lot every time. Or they are in the absolute depths of despair. And
That's
there's no,
much more like what I see.
and there is no in-between.
Right. There's either
No one's having a medium day at Waffle House.
No, that's either the darkest place you can be, or they're really excited to make you some toast.
Yeah,
I wonder if Fatal Ambition's chances are toast here in game number 2.
Yeah, they are. They've got no way to kill Delnyy, man. I mean, now my boy's sold his boots and gotten a crusher, and who's going to stop him?
Gross.
Who's telling him no to this?
It wouldn't be me.
No Magi's cloaks is crazy to me for Fatal Ambition. Finally, JPrro's working on one, but too little too late.
Delnyy blinks in. Soul Reaper has to use the beads instantly or else face certain doom.
Okay.
Not unlike a Waffle House steak, to go back to that joke. JPrro gets Fatal Ghost. But way in the back, Soul Reaper actually gets off a pretty critical rewind to keep the chances alive. Fallen has Keegan locked down as well. They may have lost all their Phoenixes, but Keegan pops Fallen like nothing I've ever seen. Not a pin. Makes his way all the way to Jangaru and does get the stun. But this Achilles fights it off, at least for the moment. Looking for a little bit more damage. Brings not a pin low. But the whole time, the Titan, that was the real call, ends up falling in favor of BFC.
Man, I'll tell you what, the Polynomicon Merlin was that damage onto Fallen that really popped off and was able to make the play. Gotta give him credit, man. The poly worked.
The poly absolutely comes through for Keegan that time. So he's built now twice in some ways that are rather unique, and he's 1 for 2 on that so far. So that was a bad average. That wouldn't be bad, right, for getting the ball in play. So we'll give him credit on that one. Let's talk a little bit, though, about how that game got so out of control. And I'm going to try my best to think of someone that's not Delnyy to give some credit to. That Achilles did some damage.
It sure did. Jangaru 9-1, had a great game. Keegs as well was right there with him. Hamster, I think, deserves some credit for having a bad start, but being able to stay even in farm and still be able to impact the map. But ultimately, it all centered around Delnyy, man. As soon as he started joining these team fights, BLNCH fan club didn't lose. And so I've got Fatal Ambition's game plan laid out. I don't even need 3 note cards in front of me, give or take.
Well, I do.
Sorry to hear that. Ban tier. All right, you did a better job and you might win the game.
You have a really good shot at the very least. We'll get the exciting conclusion to this set on the other side of this quick break.
The SMITE Console League is brought to you by Titan Forge Games, the developers of SMITE.
Welcome back to the SMITE Console League for our final game of the day and the final set of the day. That would probably make sense if it's the final game of the day. My name is Finch. We're in the middle of BLNCH fan club going up against, I forgot the other team. Ryan,
Fatal
save
Ambition.
me here for
Yeah,
me.
Fatal Ambition.
That's
right.
who it is. BLNCH fan club and Fatal Ambition. Ryan, talk to me about this set. Tier 2 for me for a little bit.
Yeah, here, I got you. Game 1, Delnyy was playing tier, was owning in team fights, but they had a Jormungandr mid that didn't have beads against the Hun Batz and ultimately lost the game because of that. Game 2, they didn't have Jormungandr mid with teleport against the Hun Batz, and Delnyy was playing tier and they won the game. Now, in Game 3, I'm predicting that we will not see Tier, and it might be a different outcome this time around.
Well, if you're on the side of Fatal Ambition, it's about all that you can hope for. Delnyy put his stamp all over that game, but he was not the only one, as you alluded to last time. Jangaru and the Achilles had a pretty good game as well, so they've been able to hold on so far in this set. We'll see what the adjustments are, though, as they start to get prepped for the picks and bans for game number 3. Fatal Ambition in the first spot. BLNCH Fan Club will be responding from second. And look at that, the Achilles and Jangaru's already been removed.
Makes sense. I mean, I'd still like to see the Tier ban here, fellas. Let's hit that. You go by Warrior. You already found it once because you found that Achilles tab. So let's just sort by Warrior again. Okay, that's a Warrior too, but we're still looking for a different Warrior to ban here necessarily. It's a little bit further down. It goes by alphabetical by default, though now you can sort by most worshippers, which is pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. You can even filter it to have like hunters and mages show up. So if you want to play carry, you can just see all the damage dealers. That's all really
Tier
good
ban.
too.
Okay, all right.
Set
so now, if you pick Tier now and hit lock in, that will get you Tier on your team and prevent the enemy team from being able to play it. So here's where you do it. Okay, we go by the Warrior tab again. We go down towards the bottom because T is near the bottom of the alphabet. We find Tier. It's TY, so it's even at the back end of the T's. That is a T god, but we're a little bit too high there. Okay, let's go to Tier, boys. Tier.
TYR.
Yeah, TY.
To help him out.
No, that's another
Or
T god.
THO.
Okay. No, a little bit further down still.
This is still not correct.
We're still.
They can't hear this, right? There's no way. They're reacting. You're enjoying this.
Okay,
right?
the Morrigan. Yeah, that starts with T as well. Okay. All right, boys. Let's get there. Still a little bit further down. And yes, let's go. We got there. Okay. Whew! I thought this was going to be a weird one, but we got there.
I can't believe they didn't go to your single for that. I had to also be involved.
I know. Well, that's, you have to be involved with all of this.
That's unfortunate, isn't it? IAmTheHamster comes in for BLNCH Fan Club. And this is something that you can first pick. We don't have to worry about Delnyy's Tier. Instead, you must now worry about Delny's IAmTheHamster. I would assume here for them. They'll pair that with the Jing over into the long lane to give them some crit in the late game.
And it feels still like it's kind of crazy that we didn't see a whole lot of Magi's against it last game. We haven't seen any cripples picked against it. Let's do the stuff that when Tier was really good, we were doing back then. There were ways to deal with this character back then. Sure, it got changed anyways, but I feel like teams aren't doing themselves a whole lot of service right now by the way they're picking and banning against it so far with what we've seen today. It's Fatal Ambition have a sick top 3 here. I mean, Tier, Thor, Khepri, you can't ask for much better, in my mind.
And there really are still a lot of carries available for them to pick in response to this as well. Only Isis and Persephone, some of the main ones that are banned out. There's a ton of great stuff for them to add to this. But as you mentioned, this RDO is a potential concern, and not even so much in the laning phase, shutting the Tier down. It's going to be in those team fights, buying a little bit of time for your team to reposition.
And look, RDO does not end the Tier's game by any stretch.
No.
Because Tier can sit in defense stance, and every 8 seconds, power cleave the half the wave.
And that's
for
if
his
I never
full
bought
health
any
bar.
CDR, right?
Correct. And then once I buy the Glad Shield or once I buy the Unchile or whatever CDR I'm picking up early, that is 10% less. So I mean, it is difficult to handle the Tier anyways, but this is a step in the right direction.
Hercules has been banned out as well by Fatal Ambition, another pick that was played well by BLNCH Fan Club. Maybe not early game, but certainly they were able to make some improvements as Osiris comes through. So now I'm thinking that this is IAmTheHamster jungle, because they already have the RDO as well. Or maybe it's Osiris jungle, Ama support?
Yes, it's one of those two. Though it could be RDO support, Osiris solo, Ama jungle.
Sure. I think I would want Ama solo, I feel like, if I could get that. But also, I would really want Osiris solo.
I definitely want Osiris solo. I don't want Osiris anywhere but
Agreed, yes, so that's the most important.
We put him there. That leaves...
RDO's got to be support then, right? Because you don't want her jungle.
Well, Jumpa's not playing, so it's almost certainly RDO not in the jungle.
Yes.
But Jangaru, for some reason, hates the Assassin tab. Just cannot stand it. Will not find it no matter what it feels like. Has loved Achilles for a long time, now going to something that is not an Assassin.
We'll get a chance to see where all these picks are going. Game 3, the decider match between Fatal Ambition and BLNCH Fan Club about to kick off. And it is indeed going to be the IAmTheHamster jungle for Jangaru. Hamster takes the RDO support, and then Osiris goes solo where it almost must go.
I honestly think there's a world where Osiris jungle is better than Ama jungle. I just don't think Ama jungle. I think Ama jungle is carried by IAmTheHamster in the sense that that character is so good, you can overlook how bad she is in that role because you have on your team, and that is not a convincing argument to me to put her there. You could have always changed the draft to the point where you didn't need to put her there.
And what does she not do enough that you don't like her in the jungle? She's just good. I just want Amma on my team.
Me too. I want her in support where she can clear. I want her in help me clear and just be around the map a whole bunch. She doesn't need this jungle damage sort of idea. I mean, yes, her ult has really good scaling, but the base damage is obscene on both the 2 and the ult. Why do you need to build any power? You just want her to live as long as possible, to be in these team fights, to kind of kite people all the time, zone people all the time. I just don't think that there are a whole lot of items in the jungle that I really want. All the items I would want I can get in solo and be effective. The shields, you know, Void Shield, Runic Shield, I can get those in solo and not lose out on that lane. I just think that you can always make a better team composition with her not in the jungle.
Good beats from JPrro. Do not save his life. Hamster finds first blood on this RDO support. A little bit of backup from the on her mid. And I know we've seen a little bit less of it. Hold on, Pitbull's in danger, getting soloed here as well, but finds the heal, so he makes it out of there. But I feel like we've stepped a little bit away from on her mid, and we're forgetting why he's so strong there, but you just saw the example.
It's early kill pressure, and this isn't really where you usually see it either. It's later on. As soon as he hits level 5, you don't have a whole lot of options in order to get away from that CC and damage. So, I mean, I think On Her is still one of the premier mid laners in the entire game.
Certainly is, and should be considered as such. JPrro making a good rotation. I don't know if Hamster and Keegan know it, but they give up the ghost a little bit too soon. Hamster ambitiously coming back in, counting on Fatal Ambition to miss, and he ends up being right.
Well, he couldn't step back because that crystallized curse is waiting for him, and that's a guaranteed route, which he cannot get out of. So decides to take the only option that he had. He's guaranteed that if he steps back, you put the ball in Fatal Ambition's hands if you step forward, and they dropped it.
That was the
The
call.
ball, that is.
Yes, the kill, really.
Yes.
But in that case, the kill was the ball, or the ball was the kill. Doesn't matter so
The
much.
proverbial ball.
You mean there was no real ball?
Yeah.
That's nuts, dude. Not a pen. He's on Merlin here this time over in the long lane. Not going to let this one get back into Keegan's hands yet again. I wonder if he'll follow a similar build path with that Polynomicon, or if he'll do his own thing. As this could be a bit of trouble here for Pitbull, though low mana for Delnyy might be just enough for Pitbull to make it out of here despite all that damage.
That Fearless would have gone a slightly different direction, just a little bit further to Pitbull's left. That might have put Jangaru in tower and ultimately been enough to get him a turnaround kill, but just a bit unfortunate for him. But Jangaru's there to pressure out the blue. This is much better than what we saw Fatal Ambition do around the tier, which is just kind of let him free farm, which I do not think he can really afford to do.
I'm going to try and keep track of where everyone is. Jangaru is the jungle Amaterasu here this time, so when he's over in right helping to harass Pitbull, then where is JPrro? You ask yourself, what is he making as efficient use of the time? And it looks like he was able to find a back timing, go back and start working on this round shield as well as the Boots 2 upgrade. This is a different start to what we normally see.
It's going to be an early Void Shield, I imagine, because you see 4 physicals on the other side, 2 warriors, 2 hunters, 1 guardian that's not going to provide a whole lot of damage. I don't know that I would have started with round shield because the Void Shield build path is a little bit awkward. You kind of sit on tier 2 for a long time. It's fairly expensive. Maybe I would have rushed some pen to try and get kills on these warriors right away. The typical Jotun's Wrath rush or Crusher rush, but either way, I think Void Shield is a must-buy here for JPrro. I'd be buying it if I'm Pitbull and JPrro. If I'm not a pen, I'm probably buying Jade Emperors. I mean, you got that much pressure on you, I think, from these physical damage dealers.
Void Shield, another one of those items that feels good to build in a lot of different spots, but especially here, where this composition is relying almost entirely on physical damage. I mean, RDO's magical damage is nothing to scoff at, but not built in the Guardian role where there's no farm and almost no power going to be built, especially with these Traveler's Shoes picked up. This is absolutely the game to stack some physical defense.
Ooh, Hamster tried to blink and get that cripple off in time, but not a pen's flicker up. So he's able to escape without using the purification beads.
Not bad, though. Early on, this RDO damage still going to be there. As Keegan goes aggressive, and he has no backup. That's his leap down as well. Desert Fury gets him away, but even JPrro coming in, wall off the mark. Hammer not there either. Keegan jumping into an almost impossible situation, just walks out.
JPro's got to use the beads now. Soul Reaper uses his ultimate just to back up. But a huge stun from Hamster. Keegs wishes he had his ult now.
Yeah, Keegan coming back in. There is the ultimate, the Scarab's Blessing from Fallen to guarantee Soul Reaper makes it back out. But wow, Keegan clearly feeling something at this point to have jumped in there.
That's Keegs, man. He's always playing with confidence, and for good reason. He's a really talented mechanical player. You know he's comfortable in the on-her because long-time dual main, so you got to have the on-her in the back pocket if you play dual a whole lot. Them's the rules.
That's the real duel. The on-her 1v1, where we don't have to worry about all those broken stuff in the 1v1. I used to be a dual main. That used to be my jam.
Really?
That's true.
What was your go-to?
You knew the answer already, don't
Mercury?
you? It was Mercury.
Yeah.
Because I could build Throwing Dagger back when it mattered. No, I
I feel like Mercury would be pretty good, I suppose. Maybe not great.
With Throwing Dagger, he was very, very good. Because you could clear so easy. It was free for him.
Yeah, but I mean, everyone was good at Throwing Dagger, right? I mean, all the hunters were good.
Yeah, but you could like build into crit, and bop.
Yeah, I suppose that's true.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
What was your highest dual rank you ever achieved?
I don't know. I think it was like high diamond, something like that.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That is pretty good, actually. Definitely higher than I've ever been in dual. I don't play that mode.
I didn't play nearly as much. I didn't have anybody to queue with back then as well. So
Yeah.
I was like, hey, where's the place I go? And you know anybody that you're queuing with, and duel made sense. It
like-
was not fun. I was unhappy playing, but I played a lot.
Kind of going to the place where everybody knows your name.
Sure,
but it's
JPrro.
but it's only you, you know?
Yes, I get it. What is this?
I don't know. I'm in a mood.
Do you see all that damage there from Jangaru? As in comes Keegan trying to catch JPrro.
Ooh, close.
Impale just barely off the mark, but now there's 4 members here to collapse back into Pitbull. He's forced over the wall with the Lawbringer. All that over a drop of blue buff. And BLNCH fan club now have to head the other way.
And it's important for tier, so Pitbull getting it is a pretty big deal. I'm not surprised that BLNCH fan club's able to invest a lot or willing to invest a lot in trying to put him down, because we've seen what happens when you don't.
Fallen able to get back out of there with the abduct as well. And you're right, I mean, Pitbull put his name all over that last game. So now BLNCH fan club happy. Spend a lot of attention the other way. Red buff being invaded successfully this time by BFC. They push Soul Reaper out of the fight very early on. Not a pen able to do some good damage from far away, but it's Fallen that's stuck in the middle. Scarab's blessing onto himself. JPrro trying to help with the wall. Abduct actually gets Fallen back out of there. Even shells on himself. And somehow Fallen lives through all of that. BFC have to settle for trying to strip the red buff.
And not succeeding either. Soul Reaper rather is able to pick it up. BLNCH fan club have a lot of early kill pressure, and they're trying to utilize it well. I mean, they're fighting around this Ama early, they're fighting around the on-her early. Keegs has been all over the map. This is kind of what you want with this style of draft, but it just hasn't really paid off quite yet. Fatal Ambition's been able to really absorb these punches well and keep hold on their buffs, because their composition late game is going to be far better than what BLNCH fan club have to offer. They're just more balanced. They have actual magic damage that needs to be respected. They've really got a good opportunity to split push well with this Chernobog. They've got good CC. Only problem is that there's still an Amaterasu on the other side.
Fatal Ambition are the ones, though, starting up this Gold Fury early on, daring BLNCH fan club to out-confirm them, and they can't. Fatal Ambition secure the first Fury here of this game, but Soul Reaper could end up easily paying for it as a result. Jangaru blinks into the dazzling offensive, and it does almost enough damage to kill him outright. Jangaru finishes it with some autos. They're going to lose one more. Fallen ends up dropping as well. BLNCH fan club make them pay.
Fallen has just got to accept that Soul Reaper is going to die, and that's something that it takes supports a long time to learn, because it's so ingrained in you with this role that you've got to be there for your carry. You've got to try and get him out, even if it costs you your life, but you have to have that ability to say, sorry, bro, can't help you. I mean, you're just a little bit too far out of position on this one, and Soul Reaper ends up dying because of course he does. That's the position that he put himself in, but it also means that Fallen going down with him turns that Gold Fury from a worth it to a probably not.
A huge find for BLNCH fan club to be able to get those kills, because Fatal Ambition really got that a bit out of their timing. I know they're Merlin, Chernobog, and those two do threaten the objectives at all times, but BLNCH fan club are the ones playing with all the momentum there. They're the ones with the Ama, the On-Her, the RDO who want to be active early. I would not have been inviting competition if I was Fatal Ambition, but they get that Gold Fury and then they can't quite make it out.
JPrro gets beats from Keegs as Keegs tries to keep it going, but here comes the boys.
JPrro wants to head back in. Let's get a nice dunk here, Ferda, and he finds it, gets the first dunk on to Keegan. Now he's trying to see if he can get one on a Fatal Ghost as well, but Airstrike remains a very good ability, allows Fatal Ghost to reposition.
How did Fatal Ghost live, man? I mean, maybe he won't. Okay, he will not, because Pitbull will clean him up, but now on the receiving end of some good damage, but Fallen's Rising Dawn was solid.
The Abduct locks down Jangaru, blinks in as well, and Not a Pen finds one more. Blanche fan club suddenly end up biting the hand that feeds. They've lost 3, but Delnyy, just like on the tier, doesn't care who's around, just walks Not a Pen down.
He might be able to get Pitbull here as well. Up downs, but not quite enough damage.
Oh,
In fact,
no.
That could have been a kill the way of Fatal Ambition, but the Abduct just a little bit too late coming from Fallen.
I think it definitely would have been one. Unfortunate. Pitbull goes back in, knows he still has the heal, and is able to find that, but that's huge from Delnyy, because if Fatal Ambition come back in and find 2 unanswered picks on the back of that last fight, they're able to bring that momentum back in their favor. But even just mentally, seeing 2-1 as opposed to 2-0 is huge, as Soul Reaper's now been caught too. Looks like there is no dash available for him, and Keegan impales him, never gives him a chance to play.
Now, Hamster a bit low, but that Rising Dawn's not going to finish him off, and Fallen's dash is down, but with people coming back, Keeg decides to back it up.
All right, Kepris, I know you guys stole an FG the other day with the Rising Dawn, but calm down. Y'all ain't finishing kills off and stuff like that. Don't get ahead of yourselves.
And it's not like the old days where you would max Rising Dawn and do a whole lot of damage with it kind of coincidentally. I think that's the last ability you max right now. Well, between the other ones is Jangaru attempted to blink, use that ultimate, but did not.
I don't even think he was put in combat.
No, he wasn't. He was not. Probably tried to blink into the wall, and so it didn't blink.
Yeah, that's much more likely there. Here comes the ultimate from JPrro. Wall doesn't find a whole lot, but Keegan still doesn't really have anywhere to go. Desert Fury is a nice attempt on the way out to at least make sure he does his damage. Good mid lane instincts, and he ends up falling.
Looks like Fallen is maxing Rising Dawn, which I just don't think is really the call right now. It's good here because there is telegraphed damage coming from the Dazzling Offensive and from the On Her ultimate, but I still feel like, I mean, Abduct, you get longer duration on the pull, so I max this first. I think this is the best thing that you can be maxing right now. You get extra prots, 30 prots in the early game is absurd. You're super tanky. And then I max the 3, the Solar Flare, because that also gets increased root duration. So you can CC someone for 4 seconds with that combo once they're both maxed. And then I'm maxing Rising Dawn after that. I just think that Abduct is too strong in the early game and mid game to not max it right away.
If you're planning to be aggressive around your Kepri, maybe it can make some sense to get that Rising Dawn max. You can make your target easier to kill. But I can't imagine that's the game plan, right? To draft a Kepri and then go, let's be aggressive around it. I mean, the Abduct is a good tool in the early game for that.
I think it's really good with Blink.
Right.
But Fallen hasn't gone for it. And I think that's the optimal way to play Kepri right now is Blink, Abduct, max, just kill everyone as soon as you abduct them right away. I think that's the strongest option for Kepri right now. So if you aren't going Blink, then going the defensive option on Rising Dawn to up that damage mitigation that you get does make some sense.
Fallen goes in, but CC immunity from Keegan shuts that down. Now Fallen has become the target, drops the Scarab's Blessing on himself, but Soul Reaper gets a little bit of help from JPrro, but jumping in yet again is Keegan, finds the knockup, finds the impale. Not a pen still, and all that though gets the kill on Hamster. Now Keegan is stuck on the wrong side of town. He falls as well. Soul Reaper gets the credit for that one. 2 in favor of Fatal Ambition.
All right, now tell me which of these scenarios, Finch, sounds more likely to work out for you.
Gotcha.
Fatal, I might have to wait a little bit because this might be a Gold Fury pull for the boys of Fatal Ambition with those kills going their way. Okay, I got it. Ready.
Okay, what is it?
All right, situation number 1. All-inning the full health Kepri when he has his ultimate up. Okay, or situation number 2. Ordering a steak at Waffle House.
Whoa.
Which do you think is going to cause you more problems?
Ordering the steak at Waffle House, even still this day.
Okay, yeah.
I would all in that Kepri.
Okay, well, it seems like Blanche fan club agreed with you.
I think that they made the right call. If those are their options, they had no other way to go, really.
Yeah, that is fair. But here's the thing. Now I take that option of getting a steak at Waffle House off the board.
Oh, so it's just all in the Kepri who sells the ult up and he's full health, or just keep farming?
Correct.
No, I'll farm them. Yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah, that's not the decision that was made there by Blanche fan club. Don't all in the Kepri, especially when he has the Jade Emperor's crown. Keegan's ultimate didn't even do 30% of his HP. That's usually what you're expecting from the On Her at this point in the game. But I like Fallen not going straight into what every support is building right now, which is Gauntlet of Thebes. You should be getting Gauntlet of Thebes just about every game, but Jade Emperor straight into a Sovereignty is exactly what I would be going here. I think it's perfect.
This is one of the games where that just makes a ton of sense, and Blanche fan club might have put themselves into a bit of a tough spot. Now, I do think there's a chance that this draft from Blanche fan club's like a bell curve, and it does have this sort of early game pressure and then this late game rejuvenation where double hunters with an Ama to steroid them could be pretty potent, but they might be in a bit of trouble in these next few 10 minutes.
Up goes Soul Reaper and JPrro. JPrro finds Delnyy, but this is an Osiris.
Osiris pulled back in. Thorns reflects a lot of damage, but they do indeed get that kill. Hamster comes back in to try and slow things down, but the RDO gets interrupted. I think that might have been the dash. Can't quite tell, though, since he won't use it again, but it doesn't matter. No one from Fatal Ambition can keep chasing, except for Pitbull. He goes in up against 3, controls him with the Fearless, while the rest of the team does Oni Fury.
That was a huge heal that Hamster got off. It saves his life, but that just keeps everyone busy. While Pitbull's distracting 1v4, his team gets the Oni Fury. Tier's looking pretty good, Finch. I don't know. I'm thinking we're going to see quite a bit of this at Worlds.
I'm thinking so too, man. What a play there from Pitbull. He was calling tender as he moved in. Timber. I messed that one up, but that's fine.
I was very confused as to what you meant.
Yeah, I messed that one up. That's fine, though. He has a Witchblade here, which I think makes a ton of sense. These are all just these options that are perfectly meant to mitigate what BFC are doing.
This hurts, dude. And it feels so bad because, okay, let's put yourself in Keegan's shoes, right?
Go ahead, yeah.
You do no damage to Fallen with your ultimate. You check his build and you're like, oh, man.
It's Jade Emperor Sovereignty.
It's Jade Emperor, so I'm going to do a little bit less damage. But that's only if I'm near him. If I'm hitting anybody else around him, it's not as big of a deal. Oh, wait, no, he has Sovereignty. That's extra protection for them. Okay, that's fine, because I'll just build some attack speed and pump out enough auto attacks to where that won't matter. Oh, that is a Witchblade right there. Okay, well, maybe at least we can kill JPrro, because he's not going to have...
Void Shield,
he has a Void Shield that's going to reduce my physical protection, make him do a lot of damage, and be really hard to kill. Now that is unlucky. That is everyone that you can no longer kill.
It's just, like you said, really it's just unfortunate for you. Like, it's a low roll that you're even in this situation in the first place. Nice hammer damage there from JPrro. I say nice, not that great here to Hamster. But this is the part of the game where I think Fatal Ambition do have a little bit of time where, you know, not only do they have the gold lead, but their comp's just probably a little bit stronger right now.
I mean, they've got great opportunities for sure. They've hit so many power spikes of defense that also add to them offensively that Blanche Fan Club, they haven't hit enough. They haven't gotten enough itemization, enough power to get to the point where they could actually make something happen on the other end of it.
Are they both going crit here too, Fatal Ghost and Keegan?
That's what it looks like to me.
I know it's the fail nod, but you can just do one fail nod, right? You don't necessarily have to keep building crit afterwards. Nowadays.
I would be going pen build here.
Right.
And it's because I will do no damage otherwise.
I'm worried that both of them going crit isn't the call.
I do think that it's overstated how bad crit is against tanks. I really don't think it's that bad. You can fit a Titan's Bane into a crit build these days and do okay. You can still do relevant damage to tanks even with crit. It's the fact that there is this much physical defense. Normally there isn't this much itemization against you to where that would matter. You need the ability to actually deal damage here, I think.
Soul Reaper came out on top of that trade over there against Fatal Ghost, but Pyromancer also being looked at on the right. In comes JPrro to try and help confirm. Pyromancer goes down for Fatal Ambition. That's the ultimate from Keegan. He finds very little purchase with that ultimate there. Fallen has to disengage, as well as the Khepri. No longer can he frontline. In fact, Pitbull might have to be the sacrifice at this point. Don't die for this one.
I mean, but Pitbull's not going to die. He's half health and has a Khepri all waiting.
He's out of there, dude. Instead, Fallen has now become the target. I thought we told you to leave a long time ago, Fallen, and now he has his Scarab's Blessing on himself instead. In comes Keegan. They knock him up. Fallen does fall, but in comes Soul Reaper using the Living Nightmare ultimate to try and even the numbers here a bit. Fatal Ambition got Pyro, but they're in this weird spot here on the back end where they need to just disengage.
And they've let Fatal Ghost get a whole lot of farm during this time, too. I mean, he was pushing this whole entire time. Defended on the left-hand side, rotates in towards mid, and is able to get a tier 1 tower. Still, overall, trading your support for a Pyromancer, not too bad.
Not too bad, but they weren't asking for Fallen. You know what I mean? If you just if it's only cost $10 and you give them 15, I know you were okay spending it, but I don't think you had to.
Keep the change, man. You know, that's what they said.
That is indeed what Fatal Ambition said there on that one.
Fatal Ambition, keep the change. Fallen. What's up?
Wait.
You don't
me the change, you mean?
You don't mean me.
Right, yeah, I guess they do. Not quite the look. But I still think, as you said, Fatal Ambition are in a good spot trying to move forward here, but falling a little bit behind Hamster in terms of experience, not ideal. But look where Soul Reaper is as opposed to Keegan. Only level 14 for this Honor.
That is tough, man. I mean, Keegs has been in so many fights trying to use on her where you want to, which is this mid-game point, but because of the itemization for Fatal Ambition and the way that Blanche Fan Club drafted, it makes it very, very difficult to have this actually work out in your favor.
Yet another skirmish happening in the jungle. Fury is 30 seconds away from spawning, so maybe that's what this is all about, but we're at 21 minutes into the game. You're probably starting to think a little bit more about FG than anything else as Pitbull comes along the backside, but doesn't find a Fearless.
I don't think I've ever seen an Impale do that little damage this early in the game with the way the meta has been right now and how on her centric it's been. I don't think it did more than 150 to Fallen because Keegs has no pen.
Pitbull still frontlining, but this time he's locked down. Can't find the heal. He gets melted. JPrro lands in with an Anvil of Dawn, but Blanche Fan Club can't do much about that either. They send Fatal Ambition on their way, and now they're ready to start looking at the tier 2 tower, but Soul Reaper is suddenly in some trouble here too. They can't heal for him.
Fatal Ghost's gonna dash in. I mean, Fallen has his ultimate, finally gets it off.
Whoa.
And that'll be enough to save Soul Reaper. Pretty sure that was Fatal Ghost's third item Deathbringer crit that killed Pitbull that quickly. It bursted him heavily. And I don't really blame Fallen for being a little bit late on that Khepri ultimate. That is a tough amount of burst to be accounting for.
Yeah, Nemean, Witchblade, Greaves, and the Glad Shield, not enough to get Pitbull out of that situation, and I would have thought it was. Now they're heading right back towards Gold Fury.
Okay, that was close, because I saw Pitbull start building into something he shouldn't have been. He was starting to build into the Erendite, and I was like, just get crit for 500, insta-die, you know what you need? Some extra movement speed after you ult. But turns out he's going into the Pridwin, a much better choice. It's a big boost to CDR right away. It's an ultimate. It's an ultimate that can utilize the passive very well. You stick to them very easily, and it just adds extra damage into your combo. This is the exact type of character that, as a squishy player, I read Pridwin and went, please no.
They were doing all that damage, though, to Soul Reaper, even with Fallen right there, with the Jade Emperors to try and reduce their power and the Sovereignty to increase the procs for Soul Reaper. It wasn't enough. I mean, yes, he lived, but he was not able to continue being a factor in the fight. I mean, we talked about all this build that Fatal Ambition have built correctly, but it hasn't seemed to deter Blanche Fan Club all that much.
I mean, eventually they'll get enough damage to where it doesn't matter as much. That's what I was saying about the early game, in that they just don't... The damage numbers aren't there for Blanche Fan Club to punch through this amount of defense and itemization for Fatal Ambition, but that time will not always be the case. I mean, unless everyone's capping on physical prots, eventually Blanche Fan Club's going to be able to get the job done.
What they really need is for Pitbull and Fallen to be doing a lot more with that tankiness instead. A lot of it was just damage Pitbull was taking in the back. You're supposed to be using that time you bought to zone as Fallen is in some trouble. Scarab's blessing on himself yet again, and they're going to be patient on when they choose to proc this. Now he's a sitting duck, and Delnyy happy to come in to collect. Quack, quack. JPrro comes in as well on the Anvil of Dawn. Doesn't find a ton with that, but not a pin way in the backline, suddenly isolated, but Jangaru can't keep up the chase.
Man, Fatal Ghost is doing so much damage, but he's actually tanking this tower, and all of a sudden, he's got to get out of there really weak.
Airstrike has to be used defensively, because way on the left-hand side, Soul Reaper and Keegan are having an intense Star Wars-style battle all their own here on the left-hand side.
Who has the high ground?
Well, Soul Reaper, clearly, I'm judging off these health bars.
You cannot be going against the high ground, man. Did we not learn anything?
Yeah, I don't know how Keegan has not learned that up until this point. I mean, if Hayden Christensen is going to learn that lesson, then you gotta take that.
Give it up, man. He has the high ground. It's not worth it.
What are some good movies Hayden Christensen's been in? Because I can't think of it. Jumper wasn't.
Are you
good,
saying
right?
besides Star Wars, or are you not even counting that one?
I'm not counting any of those movies. Are you?
Okay. Episode 3 for meme quality alone is really good. It's really funny.
I'm glad that it existed, so we have those memes from which to pull.
Exactly.
From.
And by that estimation, well, how am I supposed to know how many movies you've watched, Finch? Because you didn't want to the whole time.
Ironically, I've seen all 3 of those movies.
No wonder you hate movies. You soiled them for yourself.
I went through all of the worst ones for some reason. Yeah, I don't know. And I've seen.
What have you seen? Like Mega Shark versus Giant Octopus? That whole
I
series?
have seen Sharknado. If that's what you're alluding to. I've seen Shark Boy and Lava Girl. I've seen a lot of bad movies in my time.
No, there is separate from Sharknado, way before actually. Mega Shark versus Giant Octopus is a classic that I think everyone should watch.
Is it? But I mean, I feel like the movie's right on the 10, right? It's a giant octopus fighting a shark.
Correct. A Mega Shark.
A mega shark. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know what's going to happen. They're going to fight.
What happens, though? What's the outcome?
Oh, I don't know. I assume that
That's
neither
why you gotta
one
watch.
wins. Instead, there's some third foe that ends up being the real
Holy!
sequence breaker there as Hamster has fallen early on. Soul Reaper finally is able to start hitting home with his damage. Keegan makes it up and over the wall, but those are his beads. And Lawbringer right there to follow. JPrro deletes him. And suddenly that's 2 members down in favor of Fatal Ambition. But what do they do with this? They can come right back to FG. They can push in right. Where's the right spot to go?
I think it's Fire Giant here. I mean, Jangaru has ultimate, but you should be able to just peel off and kill him as soon as he shows up. This should be a pretty free fire here for FA.
It's JPrro whose job it is to zone this one out, but Jangaru is starting to make his way through. So is Delnyy, but Fatal Ambition secure the objective. And now it's time to start pushing in right. They'll send Soul Reaper over to go make sure there's minions pushing up, and suddenly Fatal Ambition have turned this one around.
Stakes very high all of a sudden, it feels like. Not unlike, I should say. Mega Shark versus Giant Octopus, where the whole world was in danger.
They fate of the planet in the balance of the outcome of that battle.
And you may be thinking to yourself, well, Ryan, I'll just stay out of the ocean. The Mega Shark can't hurt me if I'm not there. Wrong. At one point, he jumps out of the ocean and takes down a plane.
That's
at 30,000 feet.
That's pretty sick.
It was awesome.
So when you say jump,
yeah, he starts swimming real fast. They show you the whole sequence of him. He gets real deep in the ocean.
He swam up so fast.
Yeah, that he launched himself 30,000 feet. The most impressive part being, how did he track that plane moving hundreds of miles an hour from underwater and hit the trajectory perfectly? I'll never know.
Easy for him as now the Oni Fury, 27 minutes in, has become a big deal, and Delnyy melted that time. Suddenly it wasn't as much of a front line as we thought. JPrro makes it to the sky, even with Keegan hitting him with every tick of that ultimate. Aegis comes out there first, but Soul Reaper waits. Doesn't quite hit enough autos. Good peel there from Hamster, but still doesn't quite save Keegan, and Fatal Ambition have full control.
Jangaru was able to at least force out the ultimate from Fallen, but this Amaterasu jungle has not done a whole lot as far as player damage goes, and normally it doesn't matter too much because you're providing so much to your team by way of the aura, but in the jungle you're kind of isolated a little. You're doing your own thing, you're diving the backline, you're not standing with your carries to help them do damage.
Hasn't quite been the case. Oni Fury goes down in favor of Fatal Ambition, but they got to start collecting on these Tier 2 towers. There's 2 members down for Blanche Fan Club, so this is absolutely that time. They move in to grab the Tier 2 in mid. The Tier 1 in left is already quite low as well. They should be able to rotate over and breathe on that one at any moment and still have plenty of time to make a Phoenix push, but they'll wait. They're going to try and make this Phoenix push now, but they still have the numbers advantage.
Pitbull has Blink, so I'm looking exactly at Jangaru right now. No beats for him. He could get pulled in and killed pretty much instantly.
Fatal Ambition are underneath the mid Phoenix, but there isn't much damage on the actual Phoenix itself. Not a pin, way far back, and Soul Reaper is under a whole lot of trouble. Does get a little bit of peel courtesy of JPrro, but it's not enough to save him. They make it a 1-for-1 so far, but Fallen is going to be in trouble here as well. He ends up taking a spill.
Fatal Ghost, both relics used. Can't find any autos on a Not-a-Pen, who now has a wave, but blinks forward straight into a knockup.
At the
Still
very
doing
least,
okay.
They get Fatal Ghost. What about Delnyy here on the left-hand side? They won't grab him, but Jangaru, nearly full HP, rotating in at the end of the fight for a level 19 Amaterasu impact, and that impact is up against the wall. Pitbull pins him.
Pitbull, no ultimate for him, but Not-a-Pen blinks. Doesn't have the damage, and does have Arcane Mastery ready, so could have changed stance into the Frost, but just a Frostbolt wouldn't have been enough damage. Hey, Tier's pretty good.
I'd say so, yes.
That's what I've learned today so far.
Learned is a strong word. That's what I've had confirmed, is what I would say.
Sure, that works for me.
Yeah, I think so too. They've got waves pushed up in the left and right side, but with all these casualties, Fatal Ambition don't appear to be considering making a push at this point, so they'll start to fall back. They got all the Tier 2 towers, have amassed for themselves about a 7k gold lead, or another minute 20 from this next Fire Giant spawning. That might be where we next see some action.
A little surprised that JPrro doesn't have a Heartseeker, but decides to go more defensive with the Spectral Armor. A lot of crit on the other side from Fatal Ghost and even a little bit from Keegs, so just kind of putting a little bit of insurance in to make sure he doesn't get one-tapped by these crits. Would like to see him sell the boots for the Heartseeker, but that's a ways away. Heartseeker much more expensive in this patch, goes from 29 to 31.
Good.
100 gold, but still has the impact for sure.
Pyromancer now falling in favor of Fatal Ambition. This is all going according to plan. At this point, Blanche Fan Club Probably not too worried about the Pyro, but this is the kind of lead where I think they can come out and defend on FG. It's the enhanced version, way harder for Fatal Ambition to take, and no Phoenixes are down.
That's true. They just don't have great objective takeaway. You know,
Like, how do they steal it?
Right. I mean, it's probably an on-her spear through the wall. I mean, you're looking at maybe Jangaru and Delnyy can get in there and cause a little bit of havoc, but Delnyy has been really easy to cut through recently. Very different than a Waffle House steak.
Yeah, which would be incredibly difficult. Jangaru potentially giving away his life here. A generous gift, I'd say, in a situation in which your team was already on the back foot.
Heartseeker Ama, not really going to get the job done here. I mean, I just have not been impressed with Ama Jungle no matter which level we've seen it. We've seen it at the SPL, SML, and now SEL level, and it has not had a good game yet.
I'm not going to say it's not the play, but I am going to put it next to some other plays, and you can tell me, based on context, if it is the play.
Okay, go ahead.
Seattle Seahawks throwing the football on the 2-yard line instead of giving it to Marshawn Lynch.
What are the stakes of this game? Does it matter if they
Super
lose?
Bowl. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's not a good play.
Oh, well, if it's in that company, then, well, there you go.
Yeah, I don't like that call. I don't like that call. But, I mean, you got to give credit there. I mean, who was that Malcolm Butler who made that play? Who made the interception? That was a sick play by him. At some point, you got to give him a little bit of credit.
I think so, too. He shouldn't have had the chance to be nuts there, though.
I agree.
Frenzy's now been popped by Fatal Ambition. JPrro took to the sky, and Fatal Ghost is his target, brings him down incredibly low, but still gets the airstrike off. Meanwhile, the front line kept 4 members busy, basically by themselves. That's huge. Jangaru gets Soul Reaper. Jangaru gets a double, as not a pin has fallen. We criticize this jungle Amaterasu, but it's here to play.
All right, that made it look pretty good. JPrro gonna fall eventually. Oh, we're not going that way, friend. That's not the decision to make.
Well, there's no world where you live going this way, is the way that I would describe it.
Yes, I would agree with that. A clean 4-0 for Blanche fan club on the Phoenix defense. And truth be told, that was a lot due to Jangaru, who had a sick ult, both carries standing within your purview. Not going to happen all the time. I think that a lot of that blame goes to Soul Reaper and not a pen, more so than credit at some length to Jangaru.
And a lot of the times, the way that fights end up happening is how do the two kind of front lines end up holding up? Which one folds first, and then your other front line gets collapsed on. And that time, Blanche Fan Club kept 4 members at bay with 2. That's just good numbers. As now, Blanche Fan Club diving here for this mid-Phoenix. In goes Pitbull to try and slow them down all by himself. And he does delay them a bit. They'll lose mid-Phoenix, but 2 members back up in time to defend.
I feel like that was a little bit of a misplay from Hamster. If he's in the correct stance right away and there's cripples in response to that blink, then Pitbull's dead in that spot. The fact that he gets to heal and Fearless Dash away in blue stance is what lets him survive and get that ultimate off in time, and really that shouldn't be happening with the RDO on your side.
To be fair, I don't know that it changed a whole lot there in that particular outcome. You should watch some Letterkenny, dude. You're missing out on all these great references.
Oh, yeah.
I'm
the one who introduced you to Letterkenny.
Okay, then how come we don't get these references?
You probably watch more than me. I've only watched like 5 or 6 episodes.
Man, how could you not want to watch great TV series? Not just a horrible, cold take.
Because TV series are inherent. It's a longer commitment.
It literally isn't. You can break it up to fit into your day way easier.
You can stop the movie.
You can't watch. No one makes movies to be watched 30 minutes at a time.
No,
that's
they don't.
Awful.
But you can.
No, that's awful. That's not how they're meant to be.
I'm just saying it's a longer commitment over a longer period of time, and I'm much more willing to commit 90 minutes now than 500 minutes over the course of my next month. I'm not doing that.
That's way easier for me. I'm down.
I don't understand. I don't get it. Your brain is an enigma to me. I don't understand.
That's fine by me. I'll take the toppled over milk from Patrick Star any day of the week.
What?
Patrick's, that's where that's from, right? Where the inner machinations of my mind are an enigma. It's the toppled over milk. I'll take that, yeah.
I'm going to be honest. When you said Patrick S., I immediately thought you were talking about Patrick Schoaf. Or Shoop, and I was like, what?
Listen,
him having a toppled milk thing would make a lot of sense to me.
Me as well. The problem is that, though, because he's so willing to be spilled milk, you can't beat him at any point. It's impossible.
That is true. But when you spend your whole life as spilled milk, you know.
But see, that's what I'm saying. And then you point that out to him, and even still in that moment, he wins somehow. It's impossible. I don't know. No one knows what we're talking about.
You seeing this Ymir right now, Finch?
I sure am not, thank goodness, as 35 minutes have now passed in the 3rd game of a set that changes very little.
That is true. That is a fact that you just stated. But we're having fun out here, and that's what's most important.
Yes.
You know? We're also learning a little bit about this Worlds patch, what we think might be good. Tier has proven to be on that list of things that I think are going to be good.
I'd certainly say so here at this point. It also appears that new Heartseeker has been delayed a bit, but you can still pick it up just about at any point, despite my initial conservation.
So Soul Reaper has also gone for a bit of physical protection. He picks up a Breastplate of Valor, trying to get a little bit more CDR. This puts him at 30% in conjunction with that Transcendence. This is going to let him split push better on the sides of the map. Just feels like some degree of extra physical protection is really all he was looking for in that slot. And then Breastplate is fine. It gets you mana, which you're converting into power via the Transcendence. So by that estimation, I actually think it's pretty solid.
Yeah, probably the best pickup you can make there. It looks like we do have a brief pause coming here into the game, so we'll give the players some time to get that sorted out. But this is a bit of a surprising end, I would say here, man. I mean, BLNCH fan club were far and away out in front here at the beginning of this game. Then Fatal Ambition fought their way back in, and now here they are in control, have about, what, 7,000 gold or so to their name. Can they close this one out over BLNCH fan club? It would have been the heavy favorites.
I mean, it looks that way. They've certainly got the momentum right now, and IAmTheHamster's actually building into some damage to try and help out, but that's going to hurt him here, because he's going to be extra squished.
Wow, he's gone just that quickly.
I mean, Estaf Soul Reaver RDO doesn't really do a whole lot of extra survivability.
And you know what? 36 minutes into the game is the wrong point to go, guys, we don't have enough magic damage.
Yeah. It was in the draft.
I agree, man, and I understand the Hamster's logic. Now that we're here, if I must accept the flow chart all the way down to this point, I get it. But to me, the interaction point was way back up at the top.
I think all of BLNCH fan club would probably agree with you there, but they didn't get off to an early enough lead. They tried. I think they played their draft as well as they could have.
Yeah, they were
in the
aggressive,
early game.
man.
They were really aggressive early on, but I think that's credit to Fatal Ambition for holding strong and defending those buffs. The back-to-back failed blue buff and red buff invades is what really stands out to me.
BLNCH fan club now have a lot to do without this RDO. It's literally all physical at this point to keep them at bay. But, I mean, to be fair, we're only 10 seconds away from yet another RDO being back up to defend. JPrro takes to the sky. He went directly for the Hunter last time. Let's see if that's the call again. No, it's Delnyy, and they blow him up quickly, but they lose not a pin. They needed that Merlin damage quickly. Fallen in some trouble here as well. Still with the Scarabs blessing up even now. Finally, the right side Phoenix has come tumbling back to the ground, but BLNCH fan club still strong. In fact, they get JPrro.
In goes Soul Reaper. He's going to try and put out more damage. Pitbull's doing so much, he just needs a little bit of help.
And he is able to get the kill on the Fatal Ghost. They needed him to fall. He's able to reposition and get back towards the rest, but Soul Reaper is now too far forward. Fallen still at this point with the Scarab's blessing. Finally drops on the Soul Reaper. They get another kill on the Jangaru. They take down IAmTheHamster here as well, and it's just Keegan left. They root him, but Keegan gets the kill on the Pitbull, standing inside the shifting Shans. Aegis buys him a moment, leaps up, looks for Soul Reaper, finds the crit, and Keegan keeps this game alive.
That game was over, Finch. If they could have just killed Keegs, no relics, 1v3.
Give him the D aside, for the boys. D aside, BLNCH fan club holding on.
What a play by Keegs. I mean, that's him in his wheelhouse, man. Got to make a play, and he does. Ends up doing it 1v3. I mean, really, at the end of the day, Soul Reaper just needs to use Fallen a little bit better, and Fallen needs to put himself in a position to be used a little bit better. I know Fallen's a little bit weak on HP, but Soul Reaper needs 2 autos to kill Keegs from that instance. You don't need a whole lot of time. And even if Soul Reaper's the only one who lives, you win the game. So it just feels like a bad use of your overall health pool. And when you have the 2v1, you don't have 2 individual HP bars, you have 1 collective. And you expend, you don't use all of it. You just try and have your whole health pool go down at the same time, and that's just not what they did there.
Did not work for them. Do you think Delnyy was the right target, though? That was who they picked with JPro's ultimate. That's twice in a row. But I'm not so sure that that's panned out for them. The first time, I think he went back for Fatal Ghost, and he ends up not killing him fast enough, and this time it was onto Delnyy. I mean, is that where the target selection is to be, or do they have to go for Keegan?
No, I think that's fine. I think that if you could insta-kill the enemy solo laner, even with a couple ultimates, it's almost always worth it.
Because they got him quick.
They got him real quick, and it only cost them 1 ult. It was just the fact that JPrro dunked because Fallen was using Abduct. It's really that Not a Pen died with both relics up instantly before getting
hurt a lot.
Any of his damage off. And I didn't even see who got him. It may have been Jangaru again on that Ama. I'm not sure who ended up getting that kill, but that has got to be remedied for sure. But past that, I mean, even with Not a Pen insta-dying, Fatal Ambition had the game.
Yes.
They just messed up the execution, and that's when Fallen makes one play earlier on in the set where you don't just allow your mid laner to die, and that's your Guardian Instincts being too strong. There, they need to be a little bit stronger. Get in there and body block for the point.
Something to try and help make sure they live, so Fatal Ambition will have to take another try. They did get the right side Phoenix, but remember, that's about the least valuable Phoenix you can have 40.5 minutes into a game. You can still defend that right lane and be there to defend the Fire Giant and be there for their next push. They're going to want to go right to that right side wave to push up. So it's not as big of a, game state breaker as maybe the left Phoenix would have been.
Looks like Fatal Ambition is going to try their hand at this left side Phoenix.
They should.
I mean, they don't have a whole lot going for them, it feels like. Maybe Keegan's relics being down was a factor, but now they're back up for the most part. 15 seconds left on the Aegis. Seems like we are in a holding pattern until this Fire Giant respawns in 50 seconds.
Yeah, man, not unlike a Waffle House steak. Unfortunately, that's just not for you, man. You just can't. You got to come back over to this Fire Giant and grab this the next time that it's available.
I thought you were going to go with much like a Waffle House steak. That would have been far too tough for anyone to do.
Yeah. Yeah, just like a Waffle House steak, that trying to go for that left side Phoenix would have been tough to swallow.
Waffle House knives are among the dullest knives in existence,
Big
right?
true, yes.
That is where you send all knives that no longer work.
Yep.
Do they have steak knives?
I assume that they do.
You would need to.
What if you just, next time you go, just ask for a steak knife, even without the steak. Try and make your day a little bit easier.
I like to butter my waffle or whatever with the sharpest of knives. So if you could provide me with a steak knife, that'd be really nice.
Well, I mean, they don't need to know why you want it. They just got to bring it to you. As JPrro goes in first, there's the Scarab's blessing much earlier. This fight as Jangaru has found a way to sneak out on the backside of the fight. But look how much damage he's taking. The
Nice
wall
wall.
stuns there, and Pitbull finds a critical kill. 70 seconds before we see him again.
And Jangaru has done a lot in these late game team fights with his full damage Amma build. So that is actually very relevant because it opens up free enhanced Fire Giant. The Phoenix is respawn on the right-hand side, but that means that no longer will be able to get a whole lot done. Now, it cost you a lot of ultimates. 3, in fact, there for Fatal Ambition, and the Frenzy from Fallen, and the Blink from Pitbull. Those are all valuable resources. I wonder if Fatal Ambition is going to be able to really make a whole lot of this besides getting this right side Phoenix down once again.
That's where they're going to start off this push on the right side Phoenix, and they shred it quickly. It doesn't really cost them much of anything. And they had JPrro pushing up the mid wave, so they've got a really decent shot at trying to do this. I wonder if they even wait a little bit and go push up the left, but I think they'd rather capitalize on this 20-second window where Jangaru is not here. As you said, no frenzy. His hamster is low early on. They find the kill into the RDO very quickly. Airstrike comes out from Fatal Ghost. He makes it back into the Titan room, but the mid Phoenix is down. They take to the sky, does JPrro. Delny's low here as well, but he's able to survive. JPrro can't quite get to him. Titan's starting to come down to about half HP, but they can't find their way in.
Soul Reaper can't finish off Fatal Ghost, so the attention turns towards
Titan's
the Titan.
low.
And that's it. Fatal Ambition take game 3.
Fatal Ambition over BLNCH Fan Club, who would have been the heavy favorites to take this game, end up cleaning this one out. Now, I'll be honest, this doesn't really mean a whole lot for them.
It sure does not.
My boys Fatal Ambition, that's one in here.
Yeah.
Not on any scoreboards anywhere out there, but a nice win for them all the way. Either way, this is a huge win.
Hey, man, you gotta. It feels better to win than to lose.
Yes.
No matter the stakes.
But it doesn't. No, I'm going to correct that. It feels better to not lose than it does to win, I would
Sure.
say.
Yeah,
I
that's
think
fair.
losing feels worse than winning feels good, and I'm a firm believer in that.
Yeah, I agree with you. But in these situations where there's very little on the line,
Yes.
then winning feels better than losing because losing wouldn't hurt that bad in my mind.
Yes,
so I'm
exactly
kind of
right.
fine with that.
That's a big there, or not big, but a nice win there for Fatal Ambition. Let's go ahead and take a look at these standings here really quick for Xbox in A on the backside of this. At least that's where I thought we were going here next. But you come back to us, we're standing pretty well here, I would say, right? Now that set's done.
Hey, man, that's it.
Yes.
That's
Oh,
the regular
you're right,
season
dude.
for the console
That's
league.
it,
That's
man.
week 13, final set. We got our final standings here coming in a moment, but that does it, man. We only got our 4 teams left that are going to placements.
That is crazy. I do want to say really quick, man, that these console players have been battling it out. There were not a lot of spots to try and vie for, and they came here week after week trying to grab them. Xbox North America going to be proudly and well represented by Hype Unit, who finished things off 10-2. If you're seeing someone with a console tag next to their name, Hype Unit's the best one of them here right now, and it's been that way for about as long as I can think of. The defending champs from the Console World Championship last year, and coming in as their best representative here again.
And no surprise, man. This is the team to beat when it comes to the Console League placements and doing that. Remember, that starts on Sunday, so they get here a little bit earlier. They play a little bit earlier for the right to get into that placement week bracket. I would be flabbergasted if Hype Unit don't make it through.
I would be too. Remember how it's going to start. It'll be that semifinal between them, then a final amongst the console teams, and whoever wins the final, both teams move on. It's just a matter of which side of the bracket that you go into. So wow, we are here to put a bit of a bookend on the end of the console season. It's been a great ride all the way up until here. I appreciate everybody for watching. Thank you everybody in production and out there as well, and all my other casters. But don't worry, there's plenty more Smite coming out throughout this week. SML on Tuesday, Esports Weekly on Wednesday, and then the last week of SPL Thursday, Friday. Plenty more Smite coming your way, so make sure you're here with us for the rest of the week and enjoy the rest of your Monday.
Peach!